All right, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Friday Night Torah Study. And the crowd went wild. Awesome. All right, let's make sure our phones are silenced so that we're ready to go here. All right, as you can see, Elder's not here right now, so he's having a little something going on, so just keep him in your prayers. He should be here okay tomorrow. In the meantime, so tonight is our Torah portion, Tetzaveh. All right, Tetzaveh means shall command. So we're going to cover that here. Of course, we're going to start off, as always, with prayer and praise. Then we're going to go ahead and do the readings. Okay, and so we'll have, let's see, 7 readings. Probably move the papers here, be easier. Okay, there'll be 7 readings tonight, so we can line up people. We got, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Rabbi Tom's going to be 7. Then we're good. We're all right. We're set with that. Okay, and then after the readings, we'll have some announcements, and after the announcements, I'll come back up and do an open midrash, a discussion about the Torah portion, okay? All right, so first we begin with praise and prayer. So if anybody has a praise or prayer, you can come on up. We'll begin with Rabbi Tom. We have a podium over here for the rest of you to line up to come up to. And if you're online, you can start typing it in, and our our amazing online team will take care of, making note of your prayers, and then they'll read them over the mic when it's their time. Okay, Rabbi Tom.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
And
Shalom.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask prayer for Ariel Bitrich in Arizona. She's having a hard time going in and out of the hospital with her tube and everything. And she sent us an email that she had to go to the hospital in the middle of the night one time in her wheelchair, and she had to stop at a couple of places to have it recharged. So let's keep her in prayer. She's this is her problem's been an ongoing thing. So let's pray that Yahweh will be Yahweh Rapha to her.
Amen. We certainly can do that. Appreciate that. Okay, anybody else? Ben, you coming up? All right.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So this week, Brianna was able to land quite a handful round of interviews for internships. She's doing accounting, and today one of them went really well. She was able to get accepted, and she starts or is set to start in March.
In March? When?
In March.
In March? Okay, it is March now, so yeah, sometime this month.
Yeah,
Okay.
sometime.
Awesome. Of course, I'm very proud. It's my daughter, so yes, fantastic job. You know what? Let me say something to all of you, especially if you're younger and you struggled with some things. And I don't think she's going to be embarrassed by this, but she really struggled math-wise when she was really younger. But, she got really good at it. And that's why she's going into dealing in, accounting is all numbers. And so, don't worry if you struggle at something. You might end up being good enough at it that you might get a career out of it. Okay, so it just shows the effort to persevere and to get it done. All right, Shamash Rob.
Okay, come up here for Gary Flint. I asked him if I could come up here for him. He's down in Florida with his wife. Her dad has just got sent to hospice, I think today or yesterday. So he's there taking care of that. So he asked if I'd just come up and say a prayer for that.
Okay. Along those same lines, I'm going to ask for prayer for my wife's father and her family and the decisions they're making for him, and that they have the strength and wisdom to make the decisions that need to be made, okay? Because he probably needs to be in some sort of a full-time care, all right? And so we'll add that to prayer as well, okay? And by the way, I know that it'll come up in the announcements, which will be after 8 o'clock. I do normally send the message out on the app at 8 o'clock, and we're starting something new this week where different members of the international and local leadership will be sending out the message. Well, I'm going to be sending it, but they're going to the ones who give me the wording for it. So tonight's going to be your first one from somebody different. I'm not going to tell you who. You'll have to see the message. Okay, because I scheduled them in advance, so it's scheduled for about 25 minutes from now. All right. Anybody else? All right, live stream.
All right, from Pepita, praise that Yah gave me patience and understanding to deal with kids with pornography issues this week, and prayer for Thania's recovery. She hurt her ankle while playing badminton during PE. From Walk Softly Upon the Earth, our family is planning a big move back to family, and it's going to take a lot of prayers to make it happen. From Marlene Stewart, continue prayer for my neck, please. From Tom Payne, asking prayers for my family and I to overcome being sick. Thank you. From C. Star Hicks, prayers for brother-in-law having open heart surgery and a dear friend battling cancer. From Sierra Hodgson, prayers please for my mother. She's been in the ICU since Sunday with little improvement. Prayers for strength for our family. From Simon Gibbs, a praise. After much prayer and persistence, we've secured 4 projects this week, which is better than our last 4 months total. And that's it. We're caught up. Oh, wait. Sorry. From Shelley Bell, prayers please for some bad neck and back pains lately, and praises for all that Yahweh does all the time. And we're caught up.
Amen. Amen. Okay, I'm going to add a few more things really quickly here. First of all, for me and my wife, that we praise Yah that we successfully went on our trip and made it back. Okay, so that was good. We went to one country where we were told don't go beyond where the cruise ship has their space because people get kidnapped and all kinds of terrible things. So it was safe and it was good and everything worked out really well. We had a great time, so that's a praise. Some of you may hear me coughing. I'm not sick. If you guys know me long enough, you know that around this time of year, especially when allergy seasons kick back in and everything else, I have a challenge sometimes with a nasal drip that gets into my lungs, and then you hear the coughing. Okay, it's a mechanical problem. So don't anybody start being, like look at me like I've got typhoid Mary stuff going on, and you got to just watch out for it. I'm not sick. Okay, I may cough during the midrash because it's triggered sometimes when I'm talking, but just so you know, I mean, you guys who know me, or you've experienced this kind of on an annual basis, okay? So anyway, of course, you do want to pray for all those that have asked for prayer, during the week and that kind of thing. You know what? Also pray for me from the point of view of I spent a whole week not counseling. It was fun. And I know I have a full plate next week. I could get used to that whole week of not counseling. That was kind of pretty good. Pretty good. What? Did I suffer withdrawal? Not for a second. Every time I sat there by the ice cream machine, and, that's a running joke of people who know me. And yes, I did sit by the machine the entire trip. So, okay? They knew me by name, by face, and the whole deal, by the... But no, I really do miss you guys, actually, and I'm looking forward to interacting and doing that again. I really did miss that. But it was good to get away from it for a couple of days and just focus all my attention on my beautiful wife. And we had a lot of fun. All right. And actually, as Yah would work it out, it was really funny. So Yah would work it out. So we got seated at main dining. They put you at a table that sits 8 people, and so you don't know who you're going to sit with. And there was another couple there, and they were very young, probably early 20s, it seemed like, mid-20s maybe. And they were honeymooning, right? And then we asked what deck they were on. It was the same deck as us, and my wife remembered seeing people put magnets on their doors that say things like honeymooners or newlyweds and all that stuff. And so my wife was like, "Are you on the same deck? Oh, are you like right?" They were right across the hall from us, like literally facing our cabin. So we got to be friends with this young couple. They were adorable, and it was sweet. And at one point, the young lady gave us some stickers on our door. We showed up with like, who put those there? Of course she did, and she kind of took a real liking to Rebbitzin, and I can't blame her for that, So, but we had a lot of fun, and got to see them, and it was also their first cruise ever. So, and of course we're sort of professionals, so that kind of helped out a little bit. So they were fun. Anyway. So we'll just make sure to add everybody onto that prayer list, and so let's go ahead and go before the Father. And we're going to have the opening done by Mr. Oscar Ortiz. If you'll all rise, so you can rise for this. That'd be great.
Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King. Once again, we just thank you for this opportunity of being able to come before you, present to you our praise and our request. We know, Abba, that you know all things even before we utter them from our mouths. And so we just give you a big thank you ahead of time. But more importantly, we just thank you for this opportunity of being able to come together as a family once again to honor you, to bless you, to esteem you, to hear your word, and to learn so that we can continue to grow and become the people that you've called us to be, because you already knew that we could get from where we are to where we need to be. So we give you and you alone all the praise, the glory, and the honor, for it is in the power and authority of your Son and our Mashiach Yeshua that we've come before you now. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right. Thank you, Oscar. Okay, the rest of you may be seated. All right, Shamash Rab is going to come up and lead us through the readings. Okay, so this week we're up to Tetzaveh, which means shall command. It's Exodus 27:20 to 30:10. Okay.
Right. Thank you, Rabbi. All right, first up. All right, first off, we have Rabbi Tom. So I'll say the blessing. All right. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Rabbi Tom, who has come up to honor Yahweh in the Torah. May the set-apart one bless him and his family and send blessing and prosperity in all the works of his hands. Amen. So, Rabbi, you're going to read Exodus 27, verses 20, and jump to the chapter 28, all the way down to verse 14.
And you are to command the children of Israel to bring you clear oil of pressed olives for the light, to cause the lamp to burn continually, in the tent of appointment outside the veil, which is before the witness. Aharon and his sons are to tend it from evening until morning before Yahweh, a law forever to their generations from the children of Israel. And you bring near Aharon your brother and his sons with him from among the children of Israel, for serving as priests to me. Aharon, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar, the sons of Aharon. And you shall make set-apart garments for Aharon your brother, for esteem and for comeliness. And you shall speak to all the wise of heart, whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, and they shall make the garments of Aharon to set him apart for him to serve as priest to me. And these are the garments which they make: a breastplate, a shoulder garment, a robe, an embroidered long shirt, a turban, and a girdle. And they shall make set-apart garments for Aharon your brother and his sons for him to serve as priest to me. And they shall take the gold and the blue and the purple and the scarlet material and the fine linen, and shall make the shoulder garment of gold, of blue and purple and scarlet material, and fine woven linen, the work of a skilled workman. It is to have 2 shoulder pieces joined at its 2 edges, so it is joined together. And the embroidered band of the shoulder garment, which is on it, is of the same workmanship, made of gold, of blue and purple and scarlet material, and fine woven linen. And you shall take 2 shoham stones and engrave on them the names of the sons of the children of Israel, 6 of their names on one stone, and the remaining 6 names on the other stone, according to their birth. With the work of an engraver in stone, like the engravings of a signet, engrave the 2 stones with the names of the sons of Israel, setting them in settings of gold. And you shall put the 2 stones on the shoulder pieces of the shoulder garment as stones of remembrance for the sons of Israel. And Aharon shall bear their names before Yahweh on his 2 shoulders for a remembrance. And you shall make settings of gold and 2 chains of clean gold like braided cords, and fasten the braided chains to the settings.
Right. Thank you, Rabbi Tom. All right. Next up, we have Mr. Bohe, Rick Bohe. All right. So the blessing. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Rick, who has come up to honor Yahweh in the Torah. May the set-apart one bless him and his family, and send prosperity in all, and send blessing and prosperity in all the works of his hands. Amen. All right, Rick, you're going to read Exodus 28, verses 15 through 30.
And you shall make a breastplate of right ruling, a work of a skilled workman, like the work of the shoulder garment. Make it of gold, of blue and purple, and scarlet material, and fine woven linen. It is square, doubled, a span its length, and a span its width. And you shall put settings of stones in it, 4 rows of stones. First row is a ruby, a topaz, and an emerald. The second row is a turquoise, a sapphire, and a diamond. Third row is a jacinth. an agate, and an amethyst. The fourth row is a beryl, and a shoham, and a jasper. They are set in gold settings, and the stones are according to the names of the sons of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, each one with its own name for the 12 tribes. And you shall make braided chains of corded work for the breastplate at the end of clean gold. You shall make 2 rings of gold for the breastplate, shall put 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. You shall put the 2 cords of gold in the 2 rings which are on the ends of the breastplate. And the other 2 ends of the 2 cords you fasten to the 2 settings, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the shoulder garment in the front. You shall make 2 rings of gold, and shall put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate on the edge of it, which is on the inner side of the shoulder garment. You shall make 2 rings of gold and put them on the 2 shoulder pieces underneath the shoulder garment on the front of it, close to the seam above the embroidered band of the shoulder garment. And they bind the breastplate by means of its rings to the rings of the shoulder garment, using a blue cord so that it is above the embroidered band of the shoulder garment, so that the breastplate does not come loose from the shoulder garment. And Aharon shall bear the names of the sons of Israel on the breastplate of right ruling over his heart, when he goes into the set-apart place for remembrance before Yahweh continually. And into the breastplate of right ruling you shall put the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be on the heart of Aharon when he goes in before Yahweh. And Aharon shall bear the right ruling of the children of Israel on his heart before Yahweh continually.
Good job, Rick. All right, next up, we got Mr. Wybe, Chris Wybe. All right. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Chris, who has come up to honor Yahweh in the Torah. May the set-apart one bless him and his family and send blessing and prosperity in all the work of his hand. Amen. All right, Chris, you're going to read 28:31 to the end of the chapter, verse 43.
And ye shall make the robe of the shoulder garment all of blue, and the opening for his head shall be in the middle of it, a woven binding all around its opening, like the opening in a scaled armor, so that it does not tear. And on its hem you shall make pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet material, all around its hem, and bells of gold between them all around, a golden bell and a pomegranate, a golden bell and a pomegranate, on the hem of the robe all around. And it shall be upon Aharon to attend in, and its sound shall be heard when he goes into the set-apart place before Yahweh, and when he comes out, so that he does not die. And you shall make a plate of clean gold, and engrave on it, like the engraving of a signet, set-apartness to Yahweh. And you shall put it on a blue cord, and it shall be on the turban. It is to be on the front of the turban. And it shall be on the forehead of Aharon, and Aharon shall bear the guilt of the set-apart gifts, which the children of Israel set apart in their set-apart gifts, all their set-apart gifts. And it shall be always be on his forehead for acceptance for them before Yahweh. And ye shall weave the long shirt of fine linen, and shall make the turban of fine linen, and ye shall make the girdle of woven work. And make long shirts for Aharon's sons, and ye shall make girdles for them, and ye shall make turbans for them for esteem and comeliness. And ye shall put them on Aharon your brother and his sons with him, and shall anoint him, and shall ordain them, and shall set them apart, and they shall serve as priests to me. And make linen trousers for them to cover their nakedness, reaching from the waist to the thighs. And they shall be on Aharon and on his sons when they come into the tent of appointment, or when they come near the slaughter place, to attend in the set-apart place, so that they do not bear crookedness and die, a law forever to him and to his seed after him.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Next up, we have Olivier. All right, the blessing. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Olivier, who's come up to honor Yahweh and the Torah. May the set-apart one bless him and his family, and send blessing and prosperity in all the works of his hand. Amen. All right, Olivier, you're going to read chapter 29, Exodus 29, verses 1 through 14.
And this is the task you shall do to them to set them apart to serve me as priests. Take one young bull and 2 rams, perfect ones, and unleavened bread, and unleavened cakes mixed with oil, and unleavened wafers anointed with oil. Make these of wheat flour. And you shall put them in one basket and bring them in the basket, along with the bull and the 2 rams. Then you shall bring Aaron and his sons to the door of the tent of appointment, and wash them with water. And you shall take the garments, and shall put on Aaron the long shirt, on the robe of the shoulder garment, on the shoulder garment, on the breastplate, and shall gird him with the embroidered band of the shoulder garment. And shall put a turban on his head, and shall put the set-apart sign of dedication on the turban, and shall take the anointed oil, and pour it on his head, and anoint him. Then you shall bring his sons, and put long shirts on them, and shall gird them with girdles, Aaron and his sons, and put the turbans on them. And the priesthood shall be theirs for an everlasting law. So you shall ordain Aaron and his sons, and you shall bring near the bull before the tent of appointment, and Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands on the head of the bull. And you shall slay the bull before Yahweh, by the door of the tent of appointment. And take some of the blood of the bull, and put it on the horns of the slaughtering place with your finger, and pour all the blood beside the base of the slaughtering place. And you shall take all the fat that covers the entrails, and the appendage and the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them, and burn them on the slaughter place. But the flesh of the bull, and its skin, and its dung, you shall burn with fire outside the camp. It is a sin offering.
Amen. Thank you, Olivier. All right, next up, we have Rebison Julie. All right, first the blessing. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Rebison, who has come up to honor Yahweh and the Torah. May the set-apart one bless her and her family, and send blessing and prosperity all the works of her hand. Amen. All right, Rebison, you're going to read Exodus 29, verses 15 through 31.
Okay. It is really nicer with the images, I think. I missed them, actually. Okay. And take 1 ram, and Aharon and his sons shall lay their hands on the head of the ram. And you shall slay the ram, and you shall take its blood and sprinkle it all around on the altar. And cut the ram in pieces, and wash its entrails and its legs, and place them upon its pieces and on its head. And you shall burn the entire ram on the altar. It is a burnt offering to Yahweh. It is a sweet fragrance, an offering made by fire to Yahweh. And you shall take the 2nd ram, and Aharon and his sons shall lay their hands on the head of the ram. And you shall slay the ram, and take some of its blood, and put it on the tip of the right ear of Aharon, and on the tip of the right ear of his sons, on the thumb of their right hand, and on the big toe of their right foot, and sprinkle the blood all around on the altar. And you shall take some of the blood that is on the altar, and some of the anointing oil, and sprinkle it on Aharon and on his garments, on his sons, and on the garments of his sons with him. And he and his garments shall be set apart, and his sons and the garments of his sons with him. And you shall take the fat of the ram, and the fat tail, and the fat that covers the entrails, and the appendage on the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat on them, and the right thigh. It is for a ram of ordination. And 1 loaf of bread, and 1 cake made with oil, and 1 thin cake from the basket of the unleavened bread that is before Yahweh. And you shall put all these in the hands of Aharon, and in the hands of his sons, and you shall wave them, a wave offering before Yahweh. Then you shall take them from their hands and burn them on the altar as a burnt offering, as a sweet fragrance before Yahweh. It is an offering by fire to Yahweh. And you shall take the breast of the ram of Aharon's ordination and wave it, a wave offering before Yahweh, and it shall be your portion. And from the ram of ordination you shall set apart the breast of the wave offering which is waved, and the thigh of the contribution which is raised, and of that which is for Aharon, and of that which is for his sons. And it shall be from the children of Israel for Aharon and his sons by a law forever, for it is a contribution. And it is a contribution from the children of Israel, from the slaughterings of their peace offerings, their contribution to Yahweh. And the set-apart garments of Aharon are for his sons after him, to be anointed in them and to be ordained in them. The priest from his sons in his place puts them on for 7 days when he enters the tent of meeting to attend in the set-apart place. And take the ram of ordination and cook its flesh in a set-apart place.
Right. Thank you, Revison. All right, next up we have Miss Jessica. Hi. All right. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Jessica, who's come up to honor Yahweh and the Torah. May the set-apart one bless her and her family and send blessing and prosperity in all the works of her hand. Amen. So you're going to read 29. You're going to read verse 32 to the end of the chapter.
And Aharon and his sons shall eat the flesh of the ram and the bread that is in the basket by the door of the tent of appointment. And they shall eat those offerings with which the atonement was made, to ordain them, to set them apart. But let a stranger not eat them, because they are set apart. And if any of the flesh of the ordination offerings or of the bread be left over until morning, then you shall burn up what is left over. It is not eaten, because it is set apart. And so you shall do to Aharon and his sons, according to all I have commanded you. 7 days you shall ordain them, and prepare a bull each day as a sin offering for atonement. And you shall cleanse the slaughter place when you make atonement for it, and you shall anoint it to set it apart. For 7 days you shall make atonement for the slaughter place and set it apart. And the slaughter place shall be most set apart. Whatever touches the slaughter place is to be set apart. And this is what you prepare on the slaughter place: 2 lambs a year old, daily, continually. Prepare the 1 lamb in the morning, and the other lamb you prepare between the evenings. And 1/10 of an ephah of flour mixed with 1/4 of a hin of pressed oil, and 1/4 of a hin of wine as a drink offering with the 1 lamb. And prepare the other lamb between the evenings. And with it prepare the grain offering and the drink offering as in the morning for a sweet fragrance, an offering made by fire to Yahweh. A continual ascending offering for your generations at the door of the tent of appointment before Yahweh, where I shall meet with you to speak with you. And there I shall meet with the children of Israel, and it shall be set apart by my esteem. And I shall set apart the tent of appointment and the slaughter place. And Aharon and his sons I set apart to serve as priests to me. And I shall dwell in the midst of the children of Israel, and shall be their Elohim. And they shall know that I am Yahweh their Elohim, who brought them up out of the land of Mitzrayim to dwell in their midst. I am Yahweh their Elohim.
Amen. Thank you, Jessica. All right, last up, we have Mr. Peyton. All right, the blessed. He who would bless our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Peyton, who has come up to honor Yahweh and the Torah. May the set-apart one bless him and his family, and send blessings and prosperity in all the works of his hand. Amen. All right, Peyton, you're going to read Exodus chapter 30, verses 1 through 10.
You shall make a slaughter place to burn incense on. Make it of acacia wood, a cubit long and a cubit wide. It is a square, and 2 cubits high, its horns of the same. And you shall overlay its top and its sides all around, and its horns with clean gold. And you shall make for it a molding of gold all around. Make 2 gold rings for it under the molding on both of its sides. Make them on its 2 sides, and they shall be holders for the poles to lift it with. And you shall make the poles of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold. And you shall put it before the veil that is before the ark of the witness, before the lid of atonement that is over the witness, where I am to meet with you. And Aharon shall burn on it sweet incense morning by morning as he tends the lamps. He shall burn incense on it. And when Aharon lights the lamps between the evenings, he shall burn incense on it, a continual incense before Yahweh throughout your generations. Do not offer strange incense on it, or an ascending offering, or a grain offering, and do not pour a drink offering on it. And Aharon shall make atonement upon its horns once a year with the blood of the sin offering of atonement. Once of the sin offering of atonement, once a year he makes atonement upon throughout your generations. It is the most set apart to Yahweh.
Oh, man. Thank you, Peyton. All right. Good job reading, everyone. Now, Rabbi Steve is going to do the blessing.
All right, excellent job, all the readers. Thank you. All right, the blessing after the Torah reading. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Yahweh noten haTorah. Amen. Blessed are you, Yahweh our Elohim, King of the universe, who has given us a Torah of truth and has planted eternal life in our midst. Blessed are you, Yahweh, giver of the Torah. Amen. Amen. Okay, Brianna's going to come up and lead us through the announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Let's start by welcoming our guests. So if this is your first time joining us here in person or online, we'd like to welcome you to our Erev Shabbat Torah Study, as well as our ministry. So we are children of Abraham, so we like to exemplify his world-renowned trait of hospitality. So that's why we like to start our announcement segment with just welcoming all our newcomers who are hopefully will become long-term family. So with the announcement section, I get to introduce to you what we provide as a ministry and our coming up events. So we provide 2 YouTube live streams and as well on Rumble twice a week, starting with our Shabbat service at 1:15 p.m. Eastern Time. So online, you can join the room at 1 o'clock and meet all the online mishpacha. Mishpacha means family, by the way. But here in person, you can join us live. Even if you're coming from out of town, we look forward to meeting you all. And with that, so the service typically goes till around 5:30, and which is actually a really great blessing because it gives us a lot more time to stay focused, keeping the Shabbat set apart together, and learning a lot together. So we look forward to seeing you all there tomorrow. And then our second one is what we're doing right now, is our Torah study. So this is every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Here at the building, we do an Erev Shabbat pre-service, and which isn't live streamed, but it's a benefit of being a local or visiting here. And so you just get some extra time with each other, as well as we get to bring in the Shabbat together in a really beautiful way, with blessings with over the family members. And so we look forward to seeing any guests who like to come for our Erev Shabbat, or even just locals who didn't know about it, or did know about it. Wink, wink. Anyway, so for our Torah study, we go over the Torah portion of the week, and we have a schedule for that, so I'll go into that a little bit later. But we go over the Torah portion, and we have readers take us through, and then Rabbi comes out and takes us over the notes that he took on the Torah portion. So that's going to be after my announcement segment. And then after Rabbi takes us through his notes, he'll open up the floor for any questions that you have. So anything they didn't cover, or if you have like a meaningful comment, that will be for afterwards. Also online, you have the opportunity to ask questions as well. Alrighty, so we have a children's program. This is the Parsha Pearls program created by Rebitz and Julie. So this is for the children to learn the Torah portions at their level. We have a website, MTOI.org, dedicated for this. And so we split the content into 2 different age groups. The younger group is called the Gem Seekers. This is ages 5 through 8. And then the older group is the Pearl Seekers, which is ages 9 through 99 plus. Now, we put 99 plus because we really believe that any child of Israel can take advantage of this program. It's wonderfully made with a lot of heart and dedication from a volunteer team. And so not only is it made by us, but it's made for us completely free to use. And so this is a blessing program for children because there is really nothing like this program online. Everything, all the materials that go into it are 100% created from us, and it's free to use. So we don't charge anything for these lessons. It's just for you to have your child really dig into the Word, or if you want to use it, and also enjoy doing it, have a fun time with it. And so what are included in the lessons are child-friendly stories and lessons, lesson questions, Hebrew word studies, memory verses, word searches, crossword puzzles, mazes, crafts, notebook pages, coloring pages, even a song, and a snack. And they're all related to the weekly Torah portion. So they're not just random games or snacks or songs. They're all related. So it's to give them a very firm foundation in the Word. So this is posted every Sunday at the beginning of the week, so you can have access to it if you want to teach them the lessons throughout the week. And if you have any questions about this at all, you can reach out to Revison through her email, parshapearls@mtoi.org. So we do have a Parsha schedule available if you wanted to follow along with us. How this works is Genesis through Deuteronomy is broken down in a yearly cycle, and during our Torah study, we will go over the Torah portion of the week. And how you can know which one we are on, we put the dates that correspond to the Torah study on this Torah portion schedule so that you can know what we'll be going over. So, and you can be prepared for it in advance. So this is on our website under the resources tab. You can download this as a PDF. We also have a class for our teenagers. We have the Torah Teens class with Rabbi Tom. So this class is every Thursday at 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So this is for the teenagers, so ages 13 through 19. If your teenager is interested in the class, you can join it on Zoom. So you will email torahtime@mtoi.org. You'll get an autoresponder link, and then you can use that for any of the time slots that works best for you. This is a great class if you're looking for like-minded teenagers, especially if you're in an area that doesn't have so many. The great thing about this is it's online, so you can meet some of our mishpachah that maybe you didn't know were there. And it's all under the great guidance of Rabbi Tom, who does an amazing job with the teenagers. So please join the class. He will be delighted, and so will the other teenagers. All right, we also have audio scripture readings on our website, read by Miss Shira Wenling. So she read the entirety of Scripture, Genesis through Revelation, and she read the first 5 books according to their Torah portion. So that's a really great tool to use throughout the week if you would like. We post on YouTube Monday through Friday. Starting with Mondays, we get our first look. This is a preview to the teaching that we posted later in the week, kind of giving you the highlights of it. Then on Tuesdays, we get our YouTube Shorts. There are 10 videos. They're only 1 minute long, but they give you a great reminder of some teachings that maybe you hadn't seen or you have seen, and maybe you want to go back and rewatch them. Just like our Torah portions, we might need to review things multiple times before we really fully get that understanding. So I love the shorts, especially with me, a short attention span. These are great. So Wednesdays, we get our full teaching series. Right now, we have What is the Good News, Part 19. So I would definitely recommend watching the entire series because this is the series that Rabbi is currently taking us through. Then on Thursdays, we get our Afterburn. So this is the Q&A session from the teaching. If you were curious what some of the questions were asked here live, I would highly recommend watching it. It's really insightful to hear other people's perspectives, as well as maybe if you had a question, it might have been asked and Rabbi had answered it in the Afterburn session. Lastly, we have our In Focus videos on Fridays. So these are just short videos that have really impactful topics. So we make a separate video for that because some people have common questions, and these topics usually highlight these questions. So I highly recommend looking through some of the In Focus videos for if you have a question, or just looking through them it's very insightful. So I love watching these before Shabbat. That's why it's nice that they come out on Fridays. So with our YouTube, we have over 47,000 subscribers now. And the reason why we announced that is it's nice to see how many people we do reach through the YouTube. And if you're watching now, something that we ask is if you wanted to show some support and it's completely free, you could hit the like button or subscribe, hit the notifications bell if you don't want to miss out on any of the videos. And the only reason why we ask this is because if some people are looking for ministry just like what we provide, it makes it easier for them to find if our video has more likes or and more subscribers. So it makes it more accessible for other people. But we also are on social media, so you can follow us on Facebook as MTOI Worldwide, TikTok and Instagram, we're MTOI_worldwide. So if you wanted to keep in touch with what we do event-wise, and I post about the Parshas, as if you need a reminder of what, I put a little picture. Also, if you want to follow YMTOI on Facebook, you can go ahead and do that as well. I know that's not listed, but it's really great to also see what YMTOI is doing weekly. So I would definitely highly recommend looking at our social media. And we're also on Rumble. If you're on that platform, I know that you can even live stream off that platform. So it's really a neat app. So we have our very own MTOI app, and this right now has 7,200 downloads. And so, nice. So with our app, it has all of our content in one spot. So it's really easy to access everything. So the teachings, the Holy Day schedule, the Parsha schedule, accessing the website. You can listen to my music. If you don't want to listen to it through like YouTube or Spotify or Apple Music, you can listen to it directly through the app. And my music is praise music. In case you didn't know, I'm not just promoting myself. It's made for you guys to listen. It's what we play here basically every week now. I have so many songs. So that's something that you can take advantage of with our app. So with that, Rabbi will also send out general notifications, which this week, who was it? Uncle Bob? Uncle Bob sent out a message. He's in the room. Our local celebrity. Anyway, they're just kissing up because they really like your food. Anyway, love you. So with that, not only do we get general notifications every Shabbat, but sometimes Rabbi will send out a mass message that is an important announcement. So this is a great way to get something that we need to get out right away, as fast as possible. It's easy to get it through the app, especially if you don't have social media. So if you haven't been getting notifications, you need to go to the profile button in the upper right corner. You're going to scroll down to notifications, slide the button that says general, and it should turn green. And then you'll get all the notifications. Alrighty. So we are an international ministry, and so we try to make time for everyone to engage with Rabbi at least once a month during their Shabbat time. So right now, in some parts of the world, it's not, they're not able to watch the Torah Study right now, and then on Shabbat, their Shabbat time has already passed. So Rabbi wants to solve that by splitting the world into 3 different zones so that they can have access to him at least once a month. And these zone meetings are for Q&A, so question and answers. So the next one will be on Friday, April 4th for Zone 3. So this is for those in Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Philippines, Malaysia, and all related time zones. They get to ask their questions. So again, this will be a Friday, April 4th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And just because it's for those designated countries to ask their questions, that doesn't mean they're the only ones going to be at the meeting. I'm going to be at the meeting. I know everyone here should be at the meeting. So it's not exclusive. We want everyone to feel encouraged and welcome to join. It's really a blessing to see everybody that we don't get to see all the time, see their faces, hear what they ask some really great questions. And some people join with big groups. So it's really encouraging to see our growth and how many people we don't even know are a part of our congregation. So definitely join the Zoom meetings. They're not recorded. So if you end up not showing up, there isn't a way to access the content at a later time. So something to make it easier is the Zone 3 meeting is always going to be right after the Torah study. So you'll just join right after the study ends. We basically start the Zone 3 meeting. Next is going to be for Zone 2. So this is all in one weekend. So we get all these questions and answers. It's really great. So Zone 2 is for United Kingdom, Europe, and Africa. So this will be on April 5th on Shabbat at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And again, this one's on Zoom. And I didn't explain this. To join the meeting, if you haven't joined before, you email zoom@mtoi.org. You'll get an autoresponder link, and then you can use that for any of the Zoom meeting rooms. So that would be for Zone 3 and 2. So next is that same day, Zone 1. This will be for the local Beth Shalomers, or anyone who's visiting that day gets the benefit of getting to ask questions. This alternates every other month. So this month will be for Beth Shalomers, and then the following month will be for those in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, and Central America. But this one will be live streamed. This will be, instead of a teaching, we will get the Zone 1 meeting. If you have any additional questions and you don't want to bring them to a Zone meeting, then you can go to our Contact Us page on our website, or you can send us an email to questions@mtoi.org. All right, so important thing to note is this Sunday, daylight savings begins, so we're going to set our clocks forward, and so this is, again, this Sunday, March 9th. Alrighty. Then we have Purim coming up. So this is going to be Friday, March 14th at 6 p.m. We are going to be doing something just for the locals, so it will not be live streamed. So this is like during what we would do our regular Erev Shabbat. Instead, we will be doing a Purim celebration. So we will be doing Esther readings together, and it's always a lot of fun to do that together. We do have a teaching on Purim. If you had not watched it yet, it is called Purim Defended. We also have a fun cooking video. We have a cooking series called Set Apart Cooking. This is the first one we ever filmed. It features me and Sarah Beth, and we are teaching you how to make hamantashen, which is a traditional cookie to eat during Purim. They're really fun to make, and you can basically use any filling that you want, sweet, savory. So this is just a basic way to make them. You can make them any way you want, but if you wanted to watch a tutorial and a fun video, I highly recommend watching. All right. For our ladies, we have the Pesach craft prep party. So this is Sunday, March 16th, so it's coming up, at 10 a.m. So this is just for the ladies and Gadol-aged girls. We ask that no children come. It just makes things a lot easier on everybody, and we can get a lot more done. And so this is for preparing for the MTOI Kids program that we provide during the feast. There's a lot of prep work to do in advance so that we can get the most out of the time designated for the children to learn. So this is a great mitzvah that you can do and help prepare this crafts for the kids. And it's also a lot of fun getting to know all the ladies. All right, we have a leadership council meeting March 23rd at 12 p.m. This is for the men that are a part of the leadership. We have men from all around the world in the leadership. And this is just for them, but we announce it so that we can be praying for the leaders and that their meetings are, that they go well. All right, we have Rosh Chodesh for Aviv. This will be Sunday, March 30th. This one is going to be a special one because we are going to be doing a brunch. So that is exciting. Here's this. And it'll be at 11 a.m. So, but more details to come with that. So, yay! All right. Then we have Pesach coming up. So April 11th through the 20th, this is when we will be doing our Passover and unleavened bread. Registration is, first of all, we have 286 people registered so far. So with that, we ask that you register now because registration does close next Friday, March 14th. So to register, you will go to the MTOI.org under the Passover page. So it's really easy to fill out. At this point, everyone should be getting their registration in, but I understand if you were waiting on your boss or something to go through. So please get your registration in because it does have a deadline. It will be closing next Friday, March 14th. So this is for those. So registration after if you register after the closing of next Friday, March 14th, there will be a late registration fee of $50 per family. But the registration after the closing date are subject to availability. So that means that you will have to get approval through leadership, rabbi and elder, before being able to actually get the registration past the registration deadline. Another thing to note is all balances are to be paid in full by next Friday. So again, the same day, next Friday, March 14th, with the exception of those who have spoken to elder or rabbi and made arrangements. So just for those people. But everyone else needs to make sure that either if you know that you haven't paid it already, go ahead and pay it in full, or if you were waiting to pay off part of it, you need to be making sure that you get that fully paid out. And if you aren't sure about something, feel free to reach out. So call our office number, 423-250-3020. Anyone with a balance after March 14th, which is the deadline to get your registration in and the payment in full, if you have not made arrangements with leadership, you are subject to the late fee. So this is the price of not following directions. And with that, emails and calls to remind you of your balance will go out starting Monday, but please be proactive about it. It will make it easier on everyone if you just get your amount fully paid, and so that we don't have to call and remind you, because we are children of Israel, but we shouldn't be children. All right. Anyway, so with the payments, how do you pay? So all of payments should be going through the Passover page, through the payment link there. Do not pay through Subsplash, through our app. So with that, also, the schedule is available now. So you can, yay. So you can access that. I just download it, so I have it handy throughout the week. But yes, so go ahead and check that out. And some of the important dates is the Passover meal will be on Saturday night of April 12th. Then the holy days are Sunday, April 13th, and Saturday, April 19th. And the reason why we have the 20th is that is the day that we just close camp and have everyone starts to leave. So with that, we have 2 teaching series on Passover. So we have the Passover Q&A, which is 2 episodes, and we have Get Out the Leaven, which is 3 episodes. So another thing to note, let me mention this first. So if you aren't attending our local Passover meal, we have a Haggadah tutorial. So it teaches you how to go through the Haggadah, which is what we do during the Passover meal. So it also gives you links to the MTOI Haggadah and the music, which is also integrated into the service. So now, final thing to mention is volunteering for the feast, if you are attending here, will be open by close of business on Monday, so this Monday. And how this works is the same as last year. We'll get an email sent to you, and you will have to sign yourself up for shifts. So there will be a link in the email, and it's pretty simple to use. But if you have any questions, you can, again, reach out. Don't feel like you can't reach out. Reach out. We're here to help. All right. And that is all for me. So now, Rabbi Steve.
Thank you, Brianna.
Yeah, I did. And I made a dig in.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, so Marlene, was that correct? That the email will have a link, that's what they're going to need to do? Okay, good. Because I had some wonderful little love notes on my mailbox when I got back from my trip. Marlene likes to stick these sticky notes and notes all over my mailbox. So I couldn't actually see the mailbox. It was covered with sticky notes and other notes. So anyway, don't forget to announce this, and please don't forget that. Okay. And then my favorite one was that you wanted to know who had actually paid while I was gone. I don't know how you figured I was going to do that, but you said since last Shabbat when I wasn't here since then. So that was an interesting note that you left me for something I could not have given you. Okay, but I'll get it to you as soon as I can. All right. Let me see if there's anything else in the announcements I want to make sure to mention. All right, you know what? I think it's time for a small mini teaching. Okay, because I think you guys are challenged in this particular area. Let me fix this little math here. Okay, I think you're challenged in this area, and I want to give you some encouragement. Okay, so one of the things that Brianna mentioned was this idea of having a deadline and, paying by a certain thing and everything else. Okay, well, first let me cover something that's connected but not where I was going. We do, just so you know, have benevolence that we give to people that qualify. And some of you might be thinking, what does qualifying mean? Because we don't just throw money at anybody that says they need money. Because sometimes they need money because they're a terrible handler of their money. All right? Okay? So if you contact us and we understand and find out that there was money you could have done or something you could have done that you did not do, I'm not rescuing you out of your foolishness. Well, I just was dumb all year and I didn't put money aside, now I can't afford to come, so please can you pay for my feast? No. Okay? No. Then you're going to get all sad that you don't get to come. Good. Then maybe you'll fix it for the next feast. Okay? So here's my little mini teaching. The mini teaching is one of the biggest problems I see with people today, and you can actually see it all the way through in here, is that they very, very rarely make an effort to plan for what's coming. And that's a big theme we're going to talk about even tomorrow probably in the teaching. I think it's going to come up in that, is that, the Scripture is all about telling everybody, Yahweh likes to tell everybody what's coming. And then we watch people completely act like they have no idea what's coming. And some of you have this problem when it comes to planning out things like feasts, etc. These feasts are on a schedule on our website. Leviticus 23 has them. It doesn't have the dates, but it has a schedule of them, so you know when they're coming. So if you know it's that something happens on the 15th day of the first month, you can figure out when that is. Or something happens on the first day of the 7th month, you can figure out when that is. Okay? Of course, we have a nice list for you on our website. But I don't understand why you're not planning for these things. Okay? Look, some of you are like, well, I don't have any time for that. Well, when are you going to start fixing that? Because I've got some very qualified, meaning that they're able-bodied and could go out and make a living, who do nothing. Okay? Because they're getting alimony or they're getting some other thing and it's not enough to pay their bills. But then, you're not limited to how much money you can make and still get your alimony. The court gave you the alimony. Go out and get a job. Why are you sitting there not being able to afford to come to a feast because you don't know what you're doing? And then you're going to call me and want me to take care of it. And by the way, if you think I'm talking about you, of course I am. But I'm talking about, this happens 5 times, 10 times a week as we get close to a feast. So if you think I'm talking about you, stop being so vain. It is about you, but it's not, okay? I'm not talking about you. Because some of you people are like, well, I don't want to say anything to the rabbi because he's going to talk about me. No, I'm going to talk about a problem if it's a problem that everybody has or a lot of people have. Okay, a lot of you have problems with handling your money. This is really challenging, all right? Some people are going to be all upset. We said this last week, I think, about the fact that my wife and I went on a short vacation, went on a cruise, and you're all like, oh, well, you get to go on a cruise. You know what? I worked my you-know-what off to be able to go on a cruise, okay? And so the people that know what I do, they were glad I got to take some time off, all right? And they know I earned that with the amount of work that I do. And by the way, I just got back, well, the boat docked at 7 o'clock this morning, and I'm here now doing this. Okay? And I made sure that I would be back in time and not miss anything. And then my lungs were all clogged up, and I was going to actually call Elder to say, well, maybe he could do it tonight. And then, of course, he wasn't feeling well either. I said, fine, I'll do it. But I don't like to miss work. I don't like to shut anything down. Someone said, well, you could always do one of those rewinds. No. I'm perfectly healthy enough to be doing this. But I'm just saying is, instead of whining, this is what I want to help you with. This is an encouragement. Don't take this wrong. Instead of whining and being jealous, if you ask, I can show you how to have what I have. It's a work ethic. It doesn't have to do with ministry. You could do this doing other things. Some people, go, well, look at the 1%ers or the 3%ers or the 5%ers. You could be any of those if you wanted to put the effort in. Most of you. Some of you have challenges that you can't overcome. I get that. But the majority of you could do it. But you're not willing to work like that. You're not willing to put in the incredible laser-focused effort consistently over time and work 100 hours a week. I know you're not willing to do it. Okay? And so I don't know what to do with that with you guys, okay? Take Shabbat out of it, you have 144 hours a week, okay? So for those 6 days, let's say you're sleeping 6, 7 hours, maybe 8, well, we'll give you 44 of those hours, okay? So it's still 100 hours when you're not sleeping that you could be doing something. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that, but if you're not willing, don't give me any grief. And don't be jealous of me. Because all of you are like, well, you just do all this out because we send you money. You know what? Nobody would be sending me money if I didn't work as hard as I did. None of you would even know about this, that most of the money comes from outside of the local congregation. None of that would exist if I didn't work relentlessly enough to create all these things and put it all out there and everything else. And all the years I trained to understand business and leadership and all that other stuff administratively. But you guys just think, oh, well, you just, because you happen to be up there, so we send you money. Well, you're not sending me money anyway. You're sending him money. But I've earned every penny. And if you don't think so, don't send it. Okay? Then you have a problem between you and him. Because if you think you're sending it to me, you shouldn't be sending it anyway. But why are you not asking how to have? And it doesn't mean you have to start a ministry. You could do anything and have. Okay? You heard earlier my daughter's all excited about that she's got an internship in accounting. Well, she's planning to be a CPA and maybe a CFO. You know what? She's going to make more money than I make if she does all that. But she's going to put in the work. But are you willing to put in the work? She works for me full time, and she goes to school, and she's doing this other stuff. Can you put in that kind of workload? She'll deserve every penny she gets. I'm okay with you having whatever lifestyle you have as long as you could ever finally be okay with it. But you're not okay with it. So you whine and you're jealous. But you're not really jealous. You've got that, I don't know what that word is, that evil eye of that you say, it's not fair that you have and I don't, but it's also not fair that you're willing to do what I'm not willing to do. Okay? And look, I'm 61. I can outwork most of you. That's not bragging. I shouldn't be able to outwork most of you. But I am because you know why? Because I've developed over these years the ability to work. And to work all the hours that are available to work. Okay? But, because we're looking at this stuff like feast benevolence, and I've got people absolutely that call up and they are qualified. They're widows, they're elderly, they're whatever it is. The things that qualify, and we do take care of them. Okay? And some of them, we take care of every single feast because they qualify. But there's a bunch of you that really don't qualify. You just happen to be broke. Okay? So from a broke status, yeah, you qualify. Some of you people are going to be like, we're tired of listening to this. That's okay. The only reason you'd be tired of it is because it's true and you don't like it. Because the people that it's not true, they're glad I'm saying this to somebody else. You know why? Because somebody said this to them when they were younger. And that's why they're not in the same problem. Okay? The creator of the universe gives you tithing instructions. All are for your benefit. All of it. Well, the first tithe, how is that to your benefit? And don't say because the ministry does this, that. There's not a single verse that tells me that I have to do anything ministerial with the money. Do you understand that? Not a single verse says that money is for you in ministry, that I'm supposed to do ministry with it. But I understand that that's what I'm supposed to do with it. And so I do. But there's not any verse that says that. Excuse me. Okay, there's no verse that says that. But see, you don't understand. It's for you because it teaches you how to watch your budget, how to work and develop the income that you need so that you can give that first 10%. It puts Yahweh first. And there are people that say, well, tithing isn't for today. Well, then you're going to lose out on this incredible, valuable lesson. I mean, do you ever read books like The Richest Man in Babylon and some of these other really good books on actually wealth development? And you know what they all teach? To tithe. Now, they may teach you to give it away, just 10% give away, because they're not going to tell you to go give it to a ministry or anything because they're not doing it from the Bible. But they've learned that tithing is part of success because it teaches you a mindset, okay? Teaches you a generosity mindset, teaches you a doing something for the benefit of others mindset. It also teaches you how to handle and manage your money. Second tithe, could there be anything more obviously only about you? That's literally just about you. It's for you. You don't mail it in. You keep it until you need to use it for the feast. So you can afford gasoline, rent a car, airplane, whatever you need to do to get to a feast, okay? You can afford to do that. And a lot of you don't second tithe. I would say half. I'm probably more than that, but I would say easily half of you don't do that. And then there's the third tithe. You don't care about people who need, have need. And people say, well, yeah, but you don't give it to people. No, I give it to people who need. Elder and I vet through people who need, not people who want, but who need. Okay? See, there was a humbling back in Israel. Because in Israel, they would not glean the corners of their field. So the humbling was you had to go and stand with the other so-called beggars gleaning corners of the field. When people look at you like, you're healthy enough to do that, why don't you have a job? Why don't you have a business? Why don't you have your own farm? Why don't you have something? Okay? So you'd have to do that little walk. See, we don't have that today. So now we have the third tithe that is given out as benevolence. And yes, you have to come and make that phone call of shame when it's your fault. It's not a phone call of shame if you actually need it. Don't ever be ashamed if you actually qualify and need it that you should call. But some of you call and you know that you want it, don't need it. You only need it because you've handled your money so poorly and you don't know what you're doing. Instead, make a phone call and say, Rabbi, I have no idea what I'm doing with my money. Okay? Because all of this tithing is about teaching you how to manage resources. What if Yahweh decides he wants to give you a galaxy or a planet or something? Here, do something with this. You can't even handle your finances. A few $1,000s a year that you get, and he's going to give you something to manage resource-wise? How is that going to work out? I can tell you that 99%, close to 99%, of everybody that comes to me and says they got a financial problem, I ask them if they have a budget. They say no. I teach them how to do a budget. I talk to them 6 months later. They still don't have one. The vast majority of people, we put them through Financial Peace, Dave Ramsey, they still don't have budgets. Okay? They don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to. It's not rocket science. I did a teaching. It's on the website, on YouTube. You can watch it, and it shows you how to make a budget. Okay? It's called Money Mastery. Not a problem. But, it's a lot of work. You have to actually figure out what you've been spending and then plan to spend what you want to spend going forward and actually manage your finances. And that's way too much work. And besides, then I realize I'm broke and I'm embarrassed and I'm ashamed and I'm frustrated and I'm angry and all this other stuff. You can't fix the problem if you don't know what it is. Okay? So this is a little mini teaching because you guys really have a problem following directions. These are directions from above. Yahweh's trying to teach you how to adult. If you have children, if you've ever had children, if you actually observed other people, raise their children, one of the things that they struggle with the most as they start coming into adult, 16, 17, 18, is handling money. You watch that child the first time they get a job and see that whatever they get is gone as soon as they get it. They've spent it as soon as they showed up in their bank account. They don't know how to handle money, but their parents don't either. So nobody's teaching anybody anything. You know why you're here on this planet? To learn how to adult. So that Yahweh can give you a forever suit as a mature, disciplined, filled with the Ruach, meaning love, joy, peace, patience, etc., adult, who can handle with discipline all of your own desires and urges, who can handle with discipline all of your responsibilities. You see, and a lot of people, they're like, well, we don't want to stick around for all of that. Well, that's fine. You don't need to stay here. This is for people that want to grow up. This is for people who want to be successful doing this. Okay? And I'm telling you, we're going to read this tomorrow, okay, in part 23, okay, of the Good News teaching. We're going to be in Hebrews, and we're going to read the problem. And you're going to see that Israel had a problem when they came out of Egypt, and that problem was what? They could not figure out how to go from slave, which is a very immature status, where you're just told to do everything, to self-accountable mature adults. And guess what? They got laid low in the desert. Okay? They ended up dead in the desert. Okay? Where are you going to end up? Now, I'm not saying you all got to be millionaires. You have to be able to have the functional lifestyle that you want. And you can't tell me that part of it is not feast keeping. So if you're going to tell me you don't have enough to tithe to come to the feast and you're totally able-bodied enough to go get work, I don't know what your problem is. Okay? Well, the type of job you want to get isn't available where you are. Oh, too bad. Or, oh, the job that I want to go get is it's a half hour away. It's an hour away. I don't know. Go live in a big city and find out that you commute an hour a day every day anyway. I mean, are you kidding me? Go live in New York, Chicago, Atlanta, somewhere, and they're all commuting, LA, whatever. Any big city, they're commuting an hour a day, 45 minutes an hour easily. All right? When I lived in New York, if you had to go into the city, into Manhattan, we called it this, Queens is part of the city, but when I lived in Queens and I had to go to Manhattan, subway, bus, boom, easily 45 minutes to an hour, if you don't have any hiccups. Each way. All right? That's if you're not driving. Drive is going to take worse because you're going to be sitting in traffic forever. Because you guys think of this word called rush hour. Well, no, it's rush hours. Because rush hour in New York is 4 hours. Okay? Well, 3. Starts at 4 in the afternoon, ends at after like 7:38. It's almost 4 hours. Okay, in the morning, same problem. Starts at about 6:30 or 7, ends at about 10. It's just because it takes forever. Oh, but the job I want isn't like across the street from my house. Well, isn't that hard? I feel terrible for you. Almost, what did the elder always say? Wait, let me get that half a tear. Let me get that. I got almost a half a tear there. And by the way, don't get all mad at me. Do you find, I'm going to be really serious now. Does he seem like when you read this that he has any empathy for that? For people's attitudes that are like that? I hear him getting in their faces. See, you all get mad at me. Oh, we don't like the way Rabbi talks. I'm just talking like he does. He gets right in their faces. Says, why are you guys always rebellious? What does rebellious mean? Well, I'm going to do what I want instead of what you say. That's what rebellious is. What was the real big problem watching come out of Egypt? No discipline. No faith. We say, oh, they didn't have faith. Well, the faith would be, if I have the faith, then I'm going to have the discipline to make sure I keep the faith that I'm doing. Because if he says, take Joshua and Caleb. He said to Joshua and Caleb, it's a land filled with milk, flowing with milk and honey. Go into that land. And they had the discipline, because of the faith, to go in, see the giants, no big deal. Big walls, not a problem. Why? Because he said so. But I have to discipline my carnal, fleshly, below reaction of like, ah! Because I'm going to see all that and freak out. Okay? I mean, I've got some stories for you of people that had as jacked up finances as you can say, who turned it all around because they found two things. One, they're willing to look and see how bad it really was. Because 99% of you that are broke have no idea why you're broke, how broke you are, how much you're losing every month. You have no idea. You just know that you're always broke. Okay? They were willing to see how bad it was, and then they were willing to develop the discipline and start planning and doing the action, taking action to fix it. So if you want to come to feasts, I hear people all the time saying, oh, I'd love to come and visit you guys. We live whatever, and they're in the U.S. I say, get in your car and come. Oh, well, you know, blah, blah, blah. Excuse after excuse after excuse. Just telling you the truth. You don't want it? That's okay. You can always turn to another channel, watch somebody else. So again, this all started with, why don't you ask for help in figuring out how to be where you need to be instead of asking for a handout? Okay? Because you guys do the same thing when you pray. You pray for a handout. Oh, Yahweh, please take away this problem and blah, blah, blah. Magically put 10,000 more in my bank account so I don't bounce all my checks. And instead of asking, Yahweh, lead me to someone who can show me so I know what I can do, who will teach me what to do. And then give me the strength to listen. Elder and I give financial counsel on a daily basis, probably. And most of the people don't listen. And then they call back. And then they get mad at us because we're not going to help them when they call back, when they tell us they didn't do what we told them the first time. Well, did you do what we told you? No. Do you have a budget? No. Actually, they never say no. They go, well, blah, blah, which is no. Okay? Okay, let me just throw this last thing out there because I know you want to do the Torah portion. This is important. I will be asking you this question if you come to me, and if I ask you if you have a budget, yes is not good enough. I'm going to ask you, how much is your expenses per month? In other words, what's the negative side that you have to make enough to cover? If you can't answer that question, you don't have a budget. Because you have a budget, you know my monthly expenses is $32.50 a month, or it's $28.70 a month, or it's $57, whatever it is. You should know what it costs to live your life on a monthly basis. So when you tell me you have a budget, I'm going to be like, really? I'm either going to ask you to show it to me, but I'll ask you a simpler question. How much is your monthly expense? And when you can't answer that, you don't have a budget. Because part of a budget is a heightened awareness of where you are financially on a monthly basis. You should know exactly how much is coming in and how much is going out, and whether there's a balance plus or minus. And I should be able to ask you that, and you should know. It's like if I ask you your shoe size, you would know. Well, if I ask you your balance or your budget, what your monthly, you should know. But you don't have a budget, so you don't know. Okay? And then this is all about the feasts. He gave you the feasts to plan for, to budget for, to arrange your life around, which takes planning and discipline. Okay? All right? I mean, you have to have both. And here we are talking about Passover. Why do I have to tell people there's a deadline next Friday, and I know some of you are still not going to make the deadline? And then you're going to call up, and you're going to give me all kinds of excuse stories as to why you shouldn't pay a penalty because you just couldn't get it done. You're going to. Marlene will tell you, we get this every year. You're going to give me all kinds of blah, 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 and ask to have the fee waived, and blah, 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 blah. You've known about this since Sukkot, for 4 months, 5 months, okay? You've known. There's no surprises here, okay? We announced Passover in November or December. You've had plenty of time to get there. Can I also just bring this out? How much is like a one-person registration, meals and everything? $304 for an adult registration and meals. Seriously? Since November, you couldn't come up with $304? Wait. As a tithe, That's tithe on $3,000. You didn't make $3,000 since October when we got finished with Sukkot? Is that what you're telling me? That you didn't make $3,000? Oh, but Rabbi, we also have to take a plane. All right, so that's another $500. Okay, or whatever that is. So, okay, now you're up to $800. So you didn't make $8,000 in the last? I don't understand. $15 an hour is $600 a week. It's $2,500 a month because it's 4.333 weeks in a month. So even at that wage, you made more than that. But I'm broke. Okay. That's fine. Then you get to stay home and fix your problem. It's not my fault you broke. It's not Yahweh's fault you broke. And if you're over 50 years old and you're still broke, what in the world have you been doing for the last 30 years since you've been 20 years old? And you're still broke. I know, now you're all mad at me. Somebody needs to talk to you straight. Don't you think? And by the way, planning ahead, if you're 50 years old and broke, and you've been working now for 30 plus years and broke, how are you going to handle 65 in retirement? Oh, I'll get Social Security. Oh, good. That'll be like $1,500 or less. So you're going to live on that? You can't live on that now. Please explain to me, because you're not thinking ahead. Now, you're going to be part of the 90% of people that end up 65 years old and broke. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know. I have no idea what else to tell you. You guys don't act like there's an emergency that you need to fix, because you got more time to sit on your phone and goof off than you got for anything else. You know? Oh, but I need to study my Bible more. I think Yahweh would like you to get off and go to work more. Okay? Get off your tuchus. Get a little Yiddish in there. You guys study enough. You listen, you come to services, and you hear teachings, and you've read your Bible and everything, but go to work. Go work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, or just finally get the skill set that pays more. Okay? You know, the people that get paid a lot, the reason they get paid a lot is because they do things that most people can't do. Simple as that. If you do something everybody can do, nobody's going to pay you much. So this is for all the young people. Young people, you better be thinking about something that not everybody does. You want to get paid in the top 5 or 10%? You better do something that only 5 or 10% of the people can do. You do something 90% of the people can do, you're not going to get paid much. Anybody can say you want fries with that. So it doesn't pay anything. Anybody can learn how to move in a factory and take certain parts and put them together and screw them up and whatever you got to do and get them down the assembly line. Doesn't pay very much. Go learn to do something that very few people know how to do, and you get paid more. But you know what? You have to go and make the effort to learn the skill set. You know, oh, but I'm not smart enough. Yes, you are. Sure you are. Why do you say such nasty things to yourself? Okay? You're going to tell me that all these other people are just all smarter than you? No. They have more discipline than you. They aimed higher than you. They planned maybe better than you. And if you're 50 or 60, I'm here to tell you, you're probably going to live, unless you really screw it up, to 80 or 90. Excuse me. And if you're going to live to 80 or 90, that's 25, 30 years, or 40 years if you're 50, of miserable if you can't figure this out. You got plenty of time to still figure this out. Figure it out. Figure it out. I got a couple of people here I know we're going back to school, all right? Melissa comes up here and talks about it. She wants to aim higher, okay? I'm not saying you should all go back to school, only if the schooling is to get a specific skill set that you know pays more, all right? No point in going to school unless it's towards something that actually pays more, all right? And all of this is so you become productive so that Abba has something useful for you later in the future. And he looks at you and says, oh, I gave you this talent called life. What'd you do with it? Is that too hard? Am I being too mean? That's why you're here. I don't mean here like in this room. That's why you exist. To show the Father, if I give you a life, what would you do with it? I don't want you getting depressed because you screwed it up to this point. I think you should be really depressed if, like, 5 years from now, you keep screwing it up after hearing this speech. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because otherwise, how are you enjoying feasts? How are you enjoying their struggle with your, And don't look at me like, well, you just don't know. I know. I've been broke. Okay? Okay? Wife and 2 kids and having to move back in your parents' house, that's broke. I've done that. All right? Okay, and squeezing into like 2 little bedrooms, and that's all of our stuff, and 2 little bedrooms, old house. Okay? 1940s, 1930-something house. Okay, small bedrooms. That's broke. I understand. But it pissed me off, and I got to work as hard as I could. I was not going to, stay there. Some of you aren't mad enough at your situation and saying, I'm going to do something about this. Anyway, what does that have to do with the Torah portion? Nothing. All right? But I'm sure I'll find something in the Torah portion to tie it into if I look hard enough. All right, let's get into the Torah portion. Look, I'm sorry, but it just came out of the announcements, and I just thought that would be something you needed to hear. Okay? All right? Of course, there's going to be a few of you that are like, it's Shabbat. Why are you talking about that? I think I packaged it together pretty much to show you it's literally everything about why you exist. About showing the Father what you're going to do with this life. I think I tied it into Shabbat pretty good. Okay? It's about why he made you. He made you to at least be able to take care of yourself and maybe a few others. I'm not saying he made you to be a bazillionaire and be like running around, and whatever. But he made you to be able to take care of yourself and maybe a few others and certainly obey his commands, which include tithing, which includes feast keeping with your second tithe. Okay? That's what he designed you to do. So I don't want you telling me, well, this is Shabbat. Why are you talking about this? Because it's where you struggle in your obedience to him. He says, 6 days you shall labor. Some of you say, okay, he says, do all your labor in 6 days. Okay, if you could do it in less days, great. But you have 6 of them to work with. I had a guy once upon a time used to come to the congregation, worked in the medical field, and he did 4 10s. I said, and he was complaining about being, broke to whatever degree. I said, what are you doing with the other 2 days? Pick up another shift, do something on the side. You got 2 days you're not using. And he looked at me like I was my family, they need time with me. You know what? The family was like, go out there and work. Okay? I need my family. You don't want to be impressed? I'll tell you what would impress you. Excuse me. I'll tell you what should impress you. My wife and I just went on a cruise, right? 99% of the people on that cruise leave their families for 4 months at a time with no days off. They work every day, okay? And send the money home to take care of their families. Okay? That's commitment to do whatever you can do when you live in a place where there's nothing and the economy's so bad and it's hard to make a living. They come on a boat, they sit there and do all the things, everything you can imagine they do on the boat, whether they're working in the food service or the beverage service or the housekeeping or entertainment staff, whatever they're doing, they're from all of these other countries. And my wife and I like to talk to these people and find out. And there's some people that they're married, they have 3 kids, but they never see them really. But they're doing what's most important to them, which is I'm taking care of them. I'm providing them with a nice life. Men. Oh, no, my children need to spend time with me. Really? Go out there and take care of them the way you're supposed to. You'll spend time with them. You will. But, I'm impressed when I watch and not only that, I'll tell you what else. You need to go on a cruise or something like that, because you need to see people serve. like it's their favorite thing they're doing. It's amazing. I mean, they actually convince you, and it seems as genuine as it can be, that there's nothing they'd rather do than get you that thing that you need, or go and do this thing for you, or to talk to you for a few seconds. They understand serving. See, some of you, I can't get you to volunteer for anything. I don't understand that. But these are people that have an understanding that what it means to serve others. And they do it, and that's like the most joyful thing of the whole trip, is that you watch people absolutely there to serve you in terms of bringing your joy and your pleasure of whatever it is, and meeting whatever needs you have. I mean, I go to a restaurant here in the States, and I'm like, I need some extra whatever the dressing or sauce is on the food, and they'll come back in 20 minutes if they remember. Okay? They see you look like something on your face is not happy, and they go, is there anything you need? Well, you guys really didn't have this. No problem. We'll go to the kitchen. I'll get it for you. And they'll make something separate just for you that you know that it's not there, that they don't have it. You're like, really? Yeah, no problem. Okay? I happen to put maple syrup in my coffee. They searched the entire ship for maple syrup for me. They didn't have any, but they did. They called the different restaurants. They were going to make every effort. You don't see that. We should be better than all of that. We should be on another level from all of that, shouldn't we? But we're not. Okay? And then Elder and I and Rabbi Tom, we try to do all that, and then you guys don't appreciate it either. You get all mad, and you don't like what I said or how we counseled it, even though we make ourselves available almost 24/7. Okay? And we are talking to people at night who do have situations pop up, and we do handle them. Anyway, Torah portion, Tetzaveh. Remember that Torah portion we were doing? Exodus 27. This is my long-winded way of stalling because my wife did a better presentation when she had all the slides. I'm like, how am I going to compete with all those wonderful slides? All right. So in chapter 27, okay? Actually, this will fit right in to a certain degree. All right, beginning in verse 20, it talks about, okay, hold on. I'm in the wrong place. Okay, in chapter 27 and in verse 20, it says, and you are to command the children of Israel to bring you clear oil of pressed olives for the light and to cause the lamp to burn continually. This is called the Ner Tamid, okay, the continual flame. All right, this is kind of the first idea of an eternal flame. Like it's a flame that's supposed to be kept burning all the time. But it's made from clear pressed olives. So to keep this light burning in the temple, right, in the Mishkan in the wilderness, there was supposed to be this pressing of olives to create a clear oil. That's you. To keep his fire burning in you, he's going to crush you, and good, clean, clear oil is supposed to come out. Not this whatever comes out of most of us. Okay? So I think that's part of this idea of keeping this light burning. And then, of course, it says that the Kohanim were to tend the lamp. Okay, this is in verse 21. Aaron and his sons are to tend to it from evening until morning before Yahweh, a law forever. Okay, let's deal with this law forever thing real quickly, okay? Because it comes up a couple of places here in the Torah portion. I know I keep talking about, excuse me. All right, for those who don't know, I mean, I get this lung thing when I get allergies, and I'm not sick, I'm not dying and whatever. I just get some stuff in my lungs, and it goes away, and it's fine. All right, now, I know you guys keep hearing me talk about this idea of a teaching called How Long is Forever. All right? I did a teaching like that many, 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 many years ago. It's not available anywhere. It's like 25 years ago. But here's the simplicity of the whole teaching. Okay? Forever is not like forever. Sometimes it is, but it has to do with parameters. So for as long as the parameters exist, this will be happening. So what are the parameters here? Aaron and his sons are to do this forever as long as there's Aaron and his sons in the temple. Okay? So are they still doing it right now? No. So forever is not forever the way we would classically think of it. The smoke from Sodom and Gomorrah went up for Forever. Is it still going up? No. In other words, it went until it finished whatever it was doing, until it finished burning, right? In other words, nothing was going to put it out. It just burned until it finished what it was doing, okay? So forever isn't always eternally, but it's for as long as the connected, right? There are connected parameters, so as long as those connected parameters exist. You know, Yahweh says that forever Israel will be my people as long as there's the sun, the stars, and the moon, and all these other things as signs that they are my people. So there are parameters linked to that forever, okay? All right. Now, of course, it talks about them tending to this light, and I could link 1 Corinthians 6:19. Do you not know that you are the temple? So you should keep the light burning in you, and you should be tending to it as a future priest in the kingdom. All right, we're supposed to be a kingdom of priests at some point, not now, but maybe someday, right? You also have the parable of the virgins in Matthew 25, verses 1 through 13. Where, what was the problem? Having their oil, for their lamps, so they could have that light burning. Okay. Are you the foolish ones or the wise ones? Right? All right. We get to chapter 28. Let's see. In verse 3, and you speak to all the wise of heart, whom I fill with the spirit of wisdom, and they shall make the garments of Aaron to set him apart for him to serve as priest to me. Now, there are other places in talking about building the temple where it talks about those who are filled with the anointing, so to speak, okay, or the spirit of wisdom in a specific task. Work with metals, like the gold and silver that was used for things, to work with cloth and dyes, to work with wood, to work with clothing, okay? So let's not, turn this, again, this is perfectly to understand the confusion that people say with spirit. You can't see the word spirit and think it has to be some outside entity. The spirit of wisdom possessed them. It's not a spirit, it's not like a being, okay? They were filled with a nature. Listen to the teaching called Understanding the Ruach. The intrinsic nature, their nature had a wisdom for this specific skill set, okay? We call that an anointing, which is, in my opinion, the way I describe it, the highest level of skill, all right? I mean, you could be okay at something, you could be good at something, you could be great at something, you could be gifted, okay? Okay, you could be talented, gifted. So talented, I guess, would be before gifted, and then anointed. Okay, and I've said that in other Torah portions and other times. So anointed is the highest level of talent at something. There's an anointing, okay? In verse, let's see what I want to say here. In verse 4, it mentions the breastplate, the shoulder garment, a long shirt, etc., and a turban. Okay, for all of you that are brand new at all of this and think all of a sudden you know everything about this stuff, and you look at the Jews and you think that there are connections, and there are to some things, the kippah or the yarmulke is not a turban. This is not where it came from, because people think, oh, this is where it came from. No, it's not where it came from. The wearing of the kippah is a Talmudic thing. And the tradition is that it was something to remind you that something is higher than you. Okay, something is above your head, showing you you're not the highest of all things. All right? It's not a Torah command. I used to walk around in New York, and some of my friends would see my seat, and they would see no kippah on my head. I'd be like, what's going on? I said, Talmud, Torah. They said, okay, They understood. They didn't understand why I didn't do both, because they would, but, they knew where I was coming from. All right? But this is a turban, very much like you might see an Arab, today, some of the Arab world, they wear these circular turban-like things. They call them turbans, actually, right? Wrapped around their head. So it's a circular head covering, okay? So just want to put that out there. So it's not a kippah, all right? The garments being talked about here in verse 4 and all the way through here, when it talks about things like a breastplate, etc., this should trigger what section in the New Testament? Ephesians 6, the armor of Elohim. Okay, the armor of Elohim, I guess, could be a picturing of a Roman soldier, but actually I think it's more appropriate to picture a Kohanim, one of the Kohanim, like the priest and the garments, okay? All right. On verse 12, we're still in chapter 28. It says, "And you shall put the 2 stones on the shoulder pieces and the shoulder garment as stones of the shoulder garment, as stones of remembrance for the sons of Israel. And Aaron shall bear their names before Yahweh on his 2 shoulders for remembrance." So the high priest needed to have a memory trigger with these stones to remind him that he was bearing the reputation on his shoulders, the reputation of the people. Whether that reputation was good or bad, he was carrying it on his shoulders. Okay? He knew who he was serving, and he was representing those people. All right. Verse 15 talks about the breastplate of right ruling. Okay? So this is the breastplate of judgment or righteousness, okay, which also goes back to the armor. All right, let's see. Verse 27, "And you shall make 2 rings of gold and put them on the 2 shoulder pieces underneath the shoulder garment, on the front of it, close to the seam, above the..." Details matter, people. Anybody thinks, well, you can worship any day. It doesn't have to be Saturday. You could worship any day. Well, no, details matter. Why? I mean, listen to how specific this is. 2 rings of gold, put them on the shoulder pieces. All right, that's fine. Oh, no. Underneath the shoulder garment, on the front, close to the seam, above the embroidered band on the shoulder garment. I mean, that's pretty detailed. Details matter, all right? Let's see. Verse 29 and 30. "And Aaron shall bear the names of the sons of Israel on the breastplate of right ruling over his heart, when he goes into set apart place for remembrance. And into the breastplate of right ruling you shall put the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be on the heart of Aaron when he goes in before Yahweh. And Aaron shall bear the right rulings of the children of Israel on his heart before Yahweh continually." So I wrote down in my notes that this is the idea of a leadership heart. Continual awareness of his role regarding the people. Okay? Because he was wearing this stuff that would remind him, hey, everything that's going on, the right rulings, everything else, that's on you. By the way, leadership bears all this on them. Whatever the people did, whatever right rulings were made for the people, that's all on the person making the rulings. Okay? Verse 33 to 35, it mentions that they were putting bells on the garments. This was basically, believe it or not, when the high priest went into the Holy of Holies, okay, they could hear him jingling. And, this way, if all of a sudden they heard a thump and the thing stopped jingling, that he might be dead. They actually used to tie a rope to him so they could pull him out because they couldn't go in, okay? Because if anything went wrong, he wasn't coming out, okay? Let's see. 28, 30. Okay, "And you shall make a plate," verse 36, "of clean gold and engrave on it, like the engraving of the signet, set apartness to Yahweh." This matches up with Zechariah 14:20. All right, so you have that. 29, chapter 29, verses 4 through 7. Okay. "Then you shall bring Aaron and his sons to the door of the tent of meeting and wash them with water, and you shall take the garments and put them on Aaron, etc., etc." So what this is saying is the anointed, appointed, Moshe, anoints and appoints those who would be doing some task. Okay? So he washes and dresses the anointed appointeds. So there is a responsibility of those in an anointed leadership role to wash. By the way, all that stuff you didn't like me talking about finances, that was washing. Okay? Washing your wallet. Okay? That was washing. And dressing. Putting the things on. Dressing the anointed appointed. Okay? Which shows you if I'm right, okay, about this idea of Melchizedekian priesthood versus Levitical priesthood, and that with Moshe and Aaron, they were both running concurrently. Moshe being the Melchizedekian and Aaron being the Levitical. Which one was higher? The Melchizedekian anointed the Levitical. Okay? Clearly Moses is higher than Aaron. Okay? 29:29. No, where am I going? No, 29:9. And shall gird them with girdles, Aaron and his sons, and put the turbans on them, and the priesthood shall be theirs for an everlasting law. So you shall ordain Aaron and his sons. Okay. I know that there are those out there that make a big deal. Rico, my friend, I know you make a big deal of this. I'm agreeing with you 1,000%, but what I teach is completely different, okay? One of his arguments is that the priesthood is just Aaron and his sons forever, which it says that. What I'm simply saying is the Melchizedekian priesthood is a completely separate thing. They do not have the same jobs. They never did. They don't have the same purpose or the same roles, okay? And so I get the angst that you might have, that somebody may be teaching that the Melchizedekians are now doing the Levitical things. Never. I agree with you 100%. They should never do those things. You will never see Melchizedekians in the temple when the temple is rebuilt doing Levitical things. Okay? But Rico, what I want you to do is I want you to consider that they're two separate things. Okay? That they're two completely separate things. And that when one existed to do the temple service, which is why the book of Hebrews explains why the other one has to now come back into play because there's no temple. Right? The book of Hebrews is when the temple was being destroyed. It was the siege of Jerusalem. All right. Okay? So you have that. So look, it says the priesthood shall be theirs as an everlasting law. So that means what? Parameters for everlasting. When there's a temple, they're going to be the priests. Can we all understand that? Is there a temple right now? No. What's the book of Hebrews teaching us? Hey, don't panic. There's still a priesthood. Not the priesthood that worked in the temple, but a priesthood that could still be there for you until there's another temple. The high priest, by the way, is Yeshua. Okay? Now, just kind of throwing that out there. All right, 29:19 through 21. You got the blood on the right ear, thumb, and toe, okay, as part of the anointing process. So what's the deal here, right? In verse 20 it says, you shall slaughter the ram, take some of its blood, put it on the tip of the right ear of Aaron, on the tip of the right ear of his sons, and the thumb of the right hand, and on the big toe of their right foot. So what is this all about? What does the ear represent? Hearing. Okay, so he's anointing the hearing. What does the thumb represent? Doing. That was correct. All right, doing. Right? The work of the hands, the doing. Okay, what about the big toe? The walking. Okay, the walking. And so you can see the symbolism there. All right. I think we see another forever problem here. Let's see where that's at. Oh, okay, verse 27. And from the ram of ordination you shall set apart the breast of the wave offering, which is waved, and the thigh of the contribution, which is raised, and that which is for Aaron, and that which is for his sons. And it shall be for the children of Israel, for Aaron and his sons, by a law forever. Well, are they still doing it? No. Why? Because it's connected to a parameter called the temple. No temple, no offering, no continuing to give this to the Levites. When there's a temple, they will get it. All right? Okay. Let's see. Okay, we only got two more real quick, and then we can start taking some questions here. All right, so 29:39. Prepare the one lamb in the morning, and the other lamb you prepare between the evenings. Okay? So morning and between the evenings. Between the evenings simply means afternoon. I know a lot of people get all confused because you don't know Hebrew and you don't have the historical understanding of the idiomatic phrases, and so you learn this little bit, and so you want to come up with between the evenings means between like when sundown and this or some other thing and whatever, like whatever you think evens are. It just means afternoon, okay? It just means afternoon. Now, okay, these would be the times of the offerings made daily in the Mishkan. Okay, you had the morning and afternoon, okay, or evening as they would call it, sacrifices. But it's really in the afternoon. When did they slaughter the lambs for the Passover? Around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. In the afternoon. That's when Yeshua died, right? 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So you have boker, is the Hebrew there, which means morning. but then around sunrise, like early in the morning, and then you have Arbaim, which means afternoon. Okay, around sunset, twilight, as the sun is going down, the late afternoon. Okay, and then we have, which really continues into the next Torah portion. All right, we have the strange fire. Okay, we have the strange fire. Okay, so, actually it's going to continue when we get to Leviticus 10. But here, let's talk about strange fire. Just remember this when we get to Leviticus, okay? He says, do not offer, verse 9 of chapter 30, do not offer strange incense on it, or a burnt offering, or a grain offering, and do not pour a drink offering on it. When it says strange, what does it mean by strange? Unauthorized. So in the future, when we get to Leviticus 10 and we have a little problem with Nadab and Abihu, okay, who brought strange fire, we're going to understand that it wasn't like it was anything like weird and like it was kind of strange. No, it was unauthorized. Strange meaning that it doesn't belong here, it's not authorized. Okay? So I want us to understand that he wants us to do things that are not strange. He wants us to do things that are authorized. All right, it's very important. All right, that's going to cover it. Hopefully that was good for everybody. And with that being as short as it was, you know why I talk so long about finances. Okay. All right, comments and questions. Come on up. Who's going to be first? All right, Janet. She said I could be first, so I said sure. All right, what do you got?
Thank you, Rabbi. That was very good. I appreciate your admonition or scolding, or I don't know how you call it, but what you said to us about.
No, it wasn't meant to be a scolding. It was meant to be a wake-up call. It's just a reality check. It wasn't. No, you know what? Some of you will take it as scolding. Please don't. I'm not scolding you like, chastising. I'm like, hey, own what part of this is yours. All right? Because if you can own it, you can fix it. You can't fix it if you don't own it. All right, Janet?
Rabbi, I didn't say this in the praise today, but what you said today, I literally has been praying when you were saying, you need to pray for Abba to lead you to the person who will teach you and help you and to have the strength to listen. I literally just wrote what you said. You were talking about discipline. And I've been praying for something, a bad habit that I've been having for years, okay? And it's terrible. It's a terrible habit. I mean, and even a few weeks ago, I was talking to Tom, and he was saying, sleep is one of the things that people put at the bottom, but it should be at the top. Everybody talks about exercise and diet and all, but then they put sleep at the end. And I was thinking, you know what, you're right, because it's really through sleep is when we whatever. There's a lot of healing in our organs and stuff like that. So I've been praying and praying. I was like, I need to overcome this. How do I do this? Because I would change it a night or 2 nights, and then I will go back. So I found somebody who helped me, my teacher, I'm following this diploma, and I've been so elated because for the first time, I've been consistently going to bed when I need to be in bed.
Right.
And so I'm so thankful to Abba for giving me, for leading me to this person, and for receiving the help. And obviously, I was motivated because I needed to get this problem solved. And I know it's already there. It's solved. I know I just need to keep it going. But my question really is, discipline is not necessarily, sometimes you may not be able to figure it out on your own, or you may not be able to do it in your own strength, but discipline will also involve finding, like you were saying, a person who perhaps can help you with what you can't see so you can overcome that problem.
All right, so
can you
yes.
expand?
Okay, look, discipline is the ability to accomplish what needs to get done, whether you're motivated or not. In other words, whether you want to or not, but it needs to get done. So if finding the means to do that is finding an accountability partner that's going to, be there to help be on top of you, say, hey, did you get to sleep? Did you do this? Did you do that? Whatever it is, finding something that works, that's discipline. You have to have the discipline to keep looking till you find what works, okay? So, you know what? You may not like this term, but part of being successful in everything, including the walk, is having a certain, relentlessness to you, a certain relentless part of your person. You're going to be unrelenting in what you're doing, right? And you're also going to have the ability to be somewhat obsessive. Obsession is actually a good thing if used in the right way. Nobody accomplished any of the great things you've ever seen in life that's out there without having a certain level of obsession about it, okay? So you should have a little bit of an obsession. When it says seek first the kingdom, that's an obsession. That means I'm going to be focused on, unrelenting. That's Matthew 6, right? Seek first the kingdom and its righteousness, and then all these things will be added on to you. Okay. But some of you are way too, lackadaisical about the level of energy and focus and obsessiveness you have about whatever it is you're doing. Okay? You want to be a great mom? Be obsessive about it to some degree. And be unrelenting about what's it take to be a great mom? Not just unrelenting about disciplining your children, but what does it take to be? Because you know what? If you're going to let them walk all over you, you're not being a great mom. But if you're going to be overly aggressive, you're not being a great mom. In other words, are you going to figure out what it means to be a great mom, or a great wife, or a great husband, or a great dad, great friend, whatever it is? But if you want it bad enough, then you choose to have discipline so that you'll do it whether you still want it every day. Because it starts off with a desire. You're not just going to have discipline about something you don't want. So I want to get in shape, so I go and join a gym, and I wanted it. That was my desire. I knew that would help me get in shape. Now I'm going to need discipline, because not every day am I going to want to go do it. I had enough desire to get in shape, and I had enough of a understanding by whatever experiences I've had and people I've talked to that working out is one of the ways to do that. But not every day am I going to want to do it, right? You want to be in the kingdom, but not every day do you want to pray. Not every day do you want to study. Not every day do you want to do whatever, right? But if it's important enough, then discipline has to come in. So you do it because of discipline, okay? I'm not even sure if this is true, but it probably is true enough. I didn't really want to come in tonight. I didn't really not want to. I was tired. I've been on my trip, traveled, got on a couple of planes. But discipline is, I need to do this. So it's not like I was upset about it or anything. I didn't even really think much about not coming. But I'm thinking about it now and saying, I guess I could have, but why do I come? Because it's discipline. Okay, there was really no thought not to come. Okay, if I'm physically able, I'm going to come. And that's simply a discipline thing. Okay? And by the way, discipline is not really tough once you develop a role going. Okay? It's when you stop and have to start again. That's tough. All right? I tell people all the time, I used to sell gym memberships, used to run a gym for Bally's. Okay? So I have an experience with big gyms and stuff. I used to tell people all the time, I said, look, this is not a problem. Starting is the problem. Working out's not a problem. Starting. Because your body's going to be like, what are you doing? And then you're going to wake up the next day and say, what was I doing? Your body hurts, everything hurts, things that you didn't even know hurt. Okay? Then you start asking people, what's that muscle? How could that hurt over? Yeah, it's like, muscles hurting you didn't even know you had. So then you have those moments where you might not go. Isn't that the same thing in this walk? Trying to keep this walk sometimes hurts in ways you didn't expect, with family, with friends, with some other thing that causes it to be hard. And then you feel like not doing it quite as much as you might have because it hurt. Discipline says, no, I made a commitment. I know why I wanted to do this, because you had the desire first. I know people say motivation is nothing. That's not true. You need that to start. okay? But it's not enough after you start. Then you need discipline. The motivation is why you start, okay? So if you don't start something you know you should do, you're not motivated. You got to figure out why you're not motivated. You have to have some level of motivation, desire. And that includes the kingdom. You have to desire to be there. You got to desire to become like him. And then when you struggle and have those moments that hurt a little bit, you need discipline. Okay? Did that help?
But I feel very humble because I just see my father's compassion for me. Because I have struggled with this issue, and when you see a breakthrough or something that you've been struggling for a while, because you say you become obsessed with it, and you just keep going and keep searching until you find without getting weary, and he opens the door for you. It's just his compassion, his mercy, and his love for us, and I just feel very blessed and very grateful for him.
All right, I'm going to give everybody a free part of the Level Up class, okay? Because I think it has to do with this. All right? Anything you want, we'll use the kingdom, for example, right? You have to set that as a goal, which means you have to know exactly why you want it. Okay? What is it going to benefit you? What's it going to cost you if you don't get there? I'm not talking about heaven and hell thing. I mean, like, what's it going to cost you? Well, I won't have a relationship with the Father, and I'll just have non-existent, whatever it is. I'm saying, what is the price? Okay, what am I willing to do? In other words, including what am I willing to give up? What's it going to cost me? You got to go through all of that when you pick any kind of a goal. I make $40,000 a year, and I need to be making 70. All right. Well, why? What's it going to benefit you? Why do you want to make that? Okay? What is it going to cost you if you don't get there? Okay? What's the price if you don't fix this thing that is a goal now? What's the price you're willing to pay? What are you willing to give up? And what's the price you're willing to pay? I'm willing to work 2 jobs. I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to go back to school. Whatever it is. What are you willing to do? See, that's where you all fail. When you do fail, not saying you all fail, but I'm saying when you fail, this is why you fail. Because you never thought the whole thing through, and you're not clear on what you're willing to give up to get. What price are you willing to pay? All right? Look, I've been talking to lots of people and mentioning that I want to do another extended fast. And after this trip, and don't go on a boat unless you want to eat all day, okay? I think it's available almost 24 hours, all right? Somewhere on the boat. But now I came back off the boat and I've gained some weight. I'm just feeling terrible from that. Not terrible just emotionally. I mean, I don't feel as good because I put on whatever. I ate so much. So I need something to say, I'm going to start this fast. And you know what? I have a friend over here who says that she's going to fast too. So I'm going to fast with. But the thing is, you have to commit. You can't just talk about something. Okay? You got to commit and go and do whatever it is that it is. You say you want to be in the kingdom, but then you don't come to feasts. Sometimes you don't come to Shabbat, just, I don't feel like it, whatever. I mean, you kind of check labels, but you don't when you're buying food. I mean, what's the level of commitment that you really have? And how much are you worried about what it's going to cost you if you don't figure this out and get disciplined? Okay? Don't you think life would be pretty good that you could pay your bills and tithe? Why wouldn't that be a goal? What are you willing to pay as a price to get there? Because I'm telling you, all the people out there that have what you don't have that you want were willing to do what you're not willing to do, period. Okay? When you look at Scripture, what was Joshua and Caleb different? How were they different than the other 10? They were willing to do what the others were not willing to do. They were willing to believe what Yahweh said and go. They stayed alive, everybody else died. Simple as that. Okay, I'm connecting it back to this. Now, of course, they also had a thing called belief. They believed what Yahweh said. Do you believe you can get there? See, if you don't believe you can get there, then you can't. Do you believe you can pay your bills? Do you believe you can get the work? Do you believe you can get the skill set? Do you believe you can whatever? If you can't believe it, then you need to figure out how to fix that. Because you can't believe it, it can't happen. Which is why Yahweh didn't let them go in the land. He says, you don't believe it, I'm not sending you there. And so, just keep that in mind with your whole life. Yahweh thinks you have the greatest potential that there could ever be, to be an eternal being. Could there be a bigger thing? But he's not going to just give it to you. I don't care what the Christianity system told you. He's not going to just give it to you just because you happen to believe Messiah exists. You got to earn this. I know nobody likes when I say that. Well, you guys get it. Because if you don't have to earn this, then it's the only thing in the universe that's not earned. Okay? Now, you can't pay the price that you should have paid. Yeshua did that for you. But that doesn't mean you get anything. It just means that now you can. Let's understand this correctly. Nobody else teaches this. That's not to brag on me. I'm just saying you should be receiving this because nobody else teaches this. You can earn this because he told you when he picked you that you can do it. So it's not like you're going to struggle thinking, well, I don't know why he picked me. I'm never going to make it. No, you could make it. Are you willing to pay the price, though, to make it? Are you willing to do what's necessary to become transformed into him? I don't know. Some of you, do you know what it would have been like to be Matthew and stop being the tax collector and stop your job, or Peter and the other fishermen to stop fishing and, just to give up whatever and just follow this guy? Now, they had not any idea at that moment exactly who he was. They were impressed with what he was saying and some of the things they saw him doing. But it was to give up all that. You have to give up some things in order to have. And that means things may actually look worse first. Okay? It's interesting. Once upon a time, I learned how to do, not the fastest way, but I learned how to do a Rubik's Cube. Okay? And the way I learned how to do it, I got one side, one face of it first. But in order to get the other sides, as I'm doing different moves, it temporarily looked worse. Until I finished the moves, and then it looked better. The thing is, I had to scramble it to get it unscrambled as I'm doing these different moves. Are you willing to do that with your life, though? In other words, you're going to have to kind of deconstruct what you've got to reconstruct it, which may temporarily feel worse because you're going to have to change. All right? To really have discipline, you know what I might do? I might go on a cruise one time, and I'll fast on the cruise. Food wasn't that good anyway. It really wasn't this time. It wasn't the best. Okay? But the temptation is it's always available. Okay? When you can go into the solarium at up until 1 or 2 in the morning and get pizza, and they'll just hand you pizza all night long, that's hard to say no to. Okay? And they had wraps and food and other things and desserts and whatever. I mean, but pizza all the way till whatever time you want. It was just walk up and say how many you want. They just give it to you. It's hard to look, and most of the time I don't eat pizza. I used to eat it every day, and that's how I gained weight and everything when I was younger. I ended up eating pizza most nights on the boat because it's there, and I had no discipline. Right? So what do? You spin things and be like, well, it's just for the trip and when I get back, which would be fine if you would do that, right? It'd be fine, but would you do that? Because that takes discipline, all right? So Sunday, we're starting. 7 days, piece of cake. I've done it before, all right? Okay? But I'm just giving these things as examples that are actually metaphors for this walk, for this. All right?
Yeah, I had the chance to talk to somebody who is, he's a teenager, but he was asking me advice on life and stuff. And You know, I wish I knew, knowing what I know now, I will say I will redo my life, right? Like if I would be again 17 or 18. And, you know, I was telling this person, you know, both my husband and I, we came from a different country. We went straight into graduate school. That was hard. It's hard to begin with, but it's hard to do it in a language that is not yours. We still did it, you know. We worked through it. I actually had a professor who told me, "Oh, you can always just cut down on the load." And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna end my degree in 2 years and in master's in 2 years." So, I think that sometimes we get stuck and we don't really allow ourselves to see what's possible. We only see very limited what the possibilities are for the future. And sometimes, if we don't have a lot of belief, it's good to borrow.
Why do we do that?
I don't know, but maybe past experiences, maybe
No.
they don't. I don't know. You tell me what.
Okay, it's because we can't imagine putting in that level of effort based on our current experiences with effort, okay? So when you say we don't really understand what's possible, because we've not done much to stretch ourselves. So we find our little comfort zone, and we're like, I'm happy in this little place, even though this little place is never going to get me where I want to go, but hey, I'm comfortable with it. Because it's painful, physically or emotionally or some combination, to do things outside of your comfort zone. But that's how you grow, okay? But if you don't aim at something, okay, like, for example, you said that you got your master's in 2 years, right? You had to take a lot of credits, put in a lot of hours when you got home, study your you-know-what off and everything else. Probably most of the rest of your life was nothing because that's what you were doing, okay? But see, a lot of people aren't willing to pay that price, okay? Not willing at all. That's the problem with all of this, including the walk. Are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to believe you're capable of things that you never thought you were capable of? At least try. And then you can stretch and grow. You know.
Rabbi, I had the privilege to have a grandmother who was very, very disciplined. My grandma didn't know how to write or read. She was very, uneducated, but she would get up every morning at 5:30. She had animals at home. She had ducks. She had chickens. She had different things to take care of, and she would go to bed at 9 every day. And at the end of the day, she would allow an hour or 2 hours of just relaxing after everything was done. Her life was very simple. She lived a long life. She was a happy person. She didn't have a whole lot, but she had enough to live. And my father also has been a very disciplined person. I'm like, I need to be like them, like I feel like I have their DNA, but I have to do the work. They had to do their work. So it's not like,
right, but, But the whole thing is that you have to be aiming at something, okay? All you young people, got a few young people in the room. Okay, young people, if you're going to be thinking, and we all do this when we're young, we get to be like 20-something years old, we're thinking, oh man, I'm going to retire by 40 and just live the life and whatever. You know what? That's possible. Of course, I don't think you want to retire. I think you want to do stuff because doing nothing is kind of boring. All right? But the thing is, you could choose, in other words, have the freedom to do whatever you want. Okay? Have that freedom to do whatever you want. Okay? I have enough miles that Delta will sometimes just freely upgrade if there's a seat further up just because it's an empty seat and I'm a high enough miles, so they'll just go ahead and the first time I've ever was in first class, I'm thinking, this is good. I'm not like, I'm not the biggest guy, but I'm crunched next to somebody in the main cabin. I'm like, this is kind of nice. But then when I look at what it costs, it's like triple whatever or 4 times whatever you pay for a regular ticket. So why would you do that? I mean, just for a few hours on a plane? Well, if you had the money, it might be worth it, especially if it's a long enough flight. But the thing is, you choose what kind of lifestyle you're going to have in the future based on your choices now, okay? Because everybody thinks about retirement. What do you think you're going to be doing if you don't have any money and you're older and you don't have the energy? Because I'll tell you right now, I did not have the energy on this boat that I've had in the past. I didn't go up the stairs. I actually use the elevator more than I used to. And I usually love to just work off the food by going up and down from deck 3 to deck 9 with whatever, and just walk in as much as I can. Actually, some of you know me, I like to do the line dances. When the boat launches, I do a lot of that stuff, and I kind of strained my leg first day, so it was a little bit tough. But the thing is, I'm not what I used to be. I'm older. Wouldn't you want to have more fun when you're younger, when you can actually have the energy to do more of that? I mean, you know what? You're in college, you're young, some of you young people, all you're doing is having fun now. You're paying a high price for what you're not going to have later. Have less fun now, you'll have more fun later. Okay, that's all. All right? I missed out on a lot of fun when I was doing the businesses I was doing when I was that age. I'll tell you what, though, I learned a lot of the skill sets I use today because of that. But I didn't go out and hang out with everybody because I was busy working. I was working, and I wasn't working like, McDonald's. I mean, I was running businesses and doing what I was doing. Taking risk. Take a lot of risk when you're young, okay? Because that way, if it goes badly, you don't lose much. You start all over again. Hard to do that when you're, 45 and you got a wife and 3 kids. Not the time to be doing a lot of risk, okay? All right. Next. Who was next? Delia, okay.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom.
And, all right, so when you were in...
You got to put the mic right up by your mouth.
In chapter 29, when you were talking about the Melchizedekian priesthood, so I have a few questions. So when Yeshua came, did he reestablish the priesthood, the Melchizedekian?
No.
Okay, it had never.
No. Remember, there's still a temple when Yeshua was here. Okay? When we get to the book of Hebrews, we're told that we have a high priest according to the order of Melchizedek. So then there was a shift. Okay? And so that shift took place in 70 when the temple got destroyed.
Okay. So
now I think there was always Melchizedekians running around, which are the teachers. Okay.
So the rabbis and the teachers that were there
The rabbis,
before
the
him?
teachers, the prophets are really they're those who speak for the Most High. Who stand before it to serve the Most High.
But some of them were not speaking the right things. The ones that were running around, especially during Yeshua's time.
No, I wasn't talking about those guys. I'm talking about, like, if you go back to looking at the prophets of old. They, in my opinion, may have been doing that role of a Melchizedekian priesthood, standing to serve there before Yahweh, but not temple service, okay, but speaking for him.
All right, so the Melchizedekian priesthood then being above the temple priests, is it because, Yeshua came to show us the heart, like you talk about the heart of the matter and how we're supposed to follow Yahweh and obey him?
Right.
So is that, it's not that I'm trying to say because that it's, we already know that it's above, but what I'm saying is that because of that it is because it's the heart, and the heart comes first, the heart of the matter and what we need to do. I don't quite know what I want to say.
I don't either. That makes 2 of us.
I'm sorry.
I really have no idea what you're trying to say.
No, well, it's just because I've been trying to figure out, first, like, thank you, you answered my question about all those rabbis, and stuff that had been there.
What rabbis are you talking about?
I'm just in general, like you mentioned, the prophets and all the ones that came
Prophets
before.
weren't rabbis. They didn't start calling anybody rabbi till late.
No, I mean teachers.
Yeah, they were.
I meant they were teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And prophets.
But I'm just, I guess I'm trying to understand. So the Melchizedekian priesthood is still today,
You don't
no
need to figure
temple.
this out.
Huh?
You don't need to figure this out.
Okay, I'm overthinking it.
No, it's just not, it doesn't change anything for you, okay? Right now, we make it simple, and we just look for the Ephesians 4:11 people, okay? The fivefold ministry people, and that's what you need to look for.
Okay.
Don't
that's
worry
what I
about
couldn't
whether they're
remember.
Melchizedekian. There's almost zero, and I'll give Rico credit for this one too. Yes, he's right about that. There's almost nothing written in here about Melchizedekian. Okay, you got Melchizedek sitting with Abram, and then you have it mentioned in Hebrews, and that's about it. And maybe in one of the Psalms. Okay, but there's really nothing else. So we don't. So everything I'm giving you is highly speculative. Okay, but it pieces the puzzle together the best I can. All right.
Okay.
Okay? Think of it, the way I see it, is the Levitical priesthood was very limited in its, the spectrum of what it covered, okay? Okay, so where the Melchizedekian was much more wide spectrumed, right? Because Levitical was mostly temple service and judgment in terms of the halakhic things that had to do with the temple and things like stuff on your skin or whatever, these kind of things that specifically were theirs, compared to the almost unlimited scope of what the Melchizedekians would have been dealing with. Okay?
Okay, I had a question, but
Right? Because Moses is dealing with a whole wide spectrum of things beyond just the temple. Okay? So if he's my example of the Melchizedekian versus Levitical, again, it doesn't say that anywhere. So, anybody can just say that I'm wrong, and that's fine. I could be wrong. It's my best guess. All right?
But when Yeshua comes back and establishes him as, the king, and he's the Melchizedekian, the highest priest.
He's the highest priest of that order.
Okay, so he has a wide spectrum of what he's covering.
He covers everything. But there will still be a temple, and it will still be run by Levites.
But they're still limited with just doing the temple service.
Well, and whatever else was, when you read Leviticus, actually from Exodus here all the way through to, through Leviticus, you can see all the things that they're told they cover. Okay?
The reason I'm asking this is that I've been trying to understand better because, they've just taught us such nonsense and it gets all jumbled up and confusing.
Right,
So,
but even this stuff I'm telling you is stuff I've made it up. I think it makes sense, but I pieced this together. There's no verses for this, okay? What you do have, though, is Ephesians 4:11. Work with that, okay? The fivefold ministry, and those are the people you need to be worried about, is the teachers, the prophets, the evangelists, the shepherds, and the apostles. Go look for those guys, all right?
Okay, I got it. Thank you so much, Rabbi. I love it because I'm learning so much from you.
Well,
and I
good.
thank Yahweh for you.
Well, good. Thank you. All right. All right, Chris is up next.
Hi. Okay. I also had questions on priesthood things, but more like Levitical. And I thought I pieced together, I think, something on, so in Exodus 25 through 30, we're starting to learn about the Aaronic priesthood.
Yep.
But it's not until in Exodus 32 where we have the Levites standing up as a whole, and not just the Aaronic, not the Aaronic, but the Levites kind of being replacing the firstborn of Israel, right, with the Pidyon Haben kind of thing going on,
right,
with there, and then in Numbers 8 is talking about how the Levites are a gift to Aharon. So I guess initially what was happening is you had Aharon and his sons being the Aaronic priesthood, and that was supposed to be helped with the firstborn of the children of Israel, just everyone's firstborn, helping Aaron and his sons. And then those people were replaced by just the Levites themselves. Would you say that's correct?
That's speculation because we don't ever see the firstborns doing any of this stuff. There wasn't a temple for them to do it with. But that seems to be what's hinted at. Okay?
Okay. It was interesting to me to look at it and be like, no, wait, why would that happen before Ezekiel 32 where they're replaced? Like, if Aaron was already put in place before that. So had to think about that in terms of like Aaronic versus just Levi in general.
Right. I mean, look, there's a separation of the Levites at Sinai, okay, when the Levites stepped up, okay, when there was the golden calf incident, etc. And then you have the designation of Aaron and his sons as being this higher level called Kohanim or high priests, okay? And then they were given the other Levites to do this service with them, but under their guidance, under their, vertically under them, right? And that seems to be what he did. Now, as far as the firstborns, because the firstborns were used in the Numbers 3 or 4 where it talks about the Pidyon Haben, well, then it's showing that there was some understanding that the firstborns may have had this kind of a role, but then he gave it to the Levites instead because of what they had done.
Okay. Also, I was looking at, because you're talking about the Levites having an everlasting, Aaron at least having an everlasting place as being priest. And it was interesting in Ezekiel chapter 44 with the third temple and all of that. In verses, he's kind of going to, railing against them a little bit, and or a lot. In verse 8, and you did not guard the charge of that which is set apart to me, but you have set others to guard the charge of my set apart place for you. And in verse 10, and the Levites who went far from me when Israel went astray, who strayed away from me after their idols, they shall bear their crookedness. They shall bear their crookedness in verse 12 at the end of that, and not come near me to serve as my priest, nor come near any of that which is set apart to me, nor into the most set apart place, and they shall bear their shame and their abominations which they have done. But the Levites are still here, because it says, yet I shall make them those who guard the duty of the house for all its work and for all that has to be done in it. But the priest, the Levites, the son of Zadok, who guarded the duty of my set-apart place when the children of Israel went astray from me, they shall draw near to me to serve me, and shall stand before me to bring me the fat and the blood. Declares the Master Yahweh, they shall enter my set-apart place, and they shall draw near to my table to serve me, and they shall guard my charge. So where the sons of Zadok were lower in position, he replaced them, he put them where these other people's position was, and like first shall be last, last shall be first kind of idea. But we still have Levites. It's not like they were given to a different tribe or something else.
Right, which I did say was going to be with the third temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question about that toward the end of the chapter, where it talks about in verse 29, the grain offering and the sin offering and the guilt offering they are to eat, and all that is dedicated in Israel is theirs. And the first of all, the first fruits of all, and every contribution of all of your contributions belongs to the priests. And the first of your grand meal you give to the priest, so that a blessing rests on your house. So this seems to indicate that in the third temple times we are tithing to the Levites. And I guess with Yeshua and all that going on, he would be more like politically, like administratively in charge. But I guess we would still be tithing to the Levites.
Right, because again, the whole point was that the Levites would have no inheritance. So as we're going back to the structure that the land was supposed to have, the Levites being full-time ministry would need an inheritance to afford to do that. And so that was the purpose of the tithing, was to provide a means of living to the ones doing full-time service. Okay?
It seems like they would need another tithe for the Melchizedekians as well.
Well, look, I don't know how Yeshua is going to work that, because Melchizedek was getting the tithe first. Abram gave the tithe to Melchizedek. That's what Jacob promised to give it to also, when he says, I will give a tenth of all. So we don't know how that's going to play out when we get there. We'll see. But certainly the Levites are going to get what it says they're going to get. Okay? All right, not a problem. All right, live stream.
All right. First question is from C4 on Rumble in Exodus 27 and again in 28:15 through 30, when talking about the stones with the 12 names of the tribes. Were Ephraim and Manasseh in those names?
I'd say, what was it about the names on the stones?
Yes, sir.
No, I didn't catch the part about Ephraim and Manasseh. What was the question?
He was asking, when talking about the stones with the names of the 12 tribes on them, were Ephraim and Manasseh in them?
I don't study this. You know why? It has no effect on what we're doing right now. Okay? You could probably ask Rebbitzin, because she studies temple service quite a bit, and that's not a problem. And I'm not ashamed to say I don't know. You know why? Because I'm focused primarily on what you need to know to function today. And by the way, you still wouldn't need to know what the names were on the stones to function today, because just the people who made the stones and put them on the breastplate would have to know. So they put the right ones there. But I'm guessing it was actually just all 12 tribes. And so Joseph would have been there, not Ephraim or Manasseh, okay? And so it wouldn't have been, the double blessing, all that stuff. This was a literal 12 tribes bearing the names of the 12 tribes on the breastplate, okay? But the reason I started off by saying, well, I really don't know, blah, 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 is because I want you to know that I don't want you to get overly concerned about those things. Let's kind of remember, like, if you ever took college, there was a thing called a major, there was a thing called a minor, and then there were electives, okay? This is an elective. It's not your major. It's not even your minor, okay? It's just interesting. Electives are for those things that you find interesting and fascinating, all right? Okay, unless you are a Levite, and even then you wouldn't need to worry about this, because when the temple is built and you're drafted back into work, you'll be told exactly what to do by someone who knows what they're doing, okay? And unless you're a Kohen, it still wouldn't matter to you, because you're not going to deal with the breastplate, all right? So let's just be careful that we don't get too caught up in this peripheral stuff. Now, I know others think that temple service is the end-all, be-all of everything. I'm not saying there's not a lot of important things in there in terms of lessons that can be learned, but all of the functional details, how's that going to help you tomorrow when you have an issue with your brother, or when you go to work, or when you wake up, or when you go to the store to buy something, or whatever? It's not going to help you at all, okay? All right, next question.
All right, from Simon Gibbs, with the amount of details about the priesthood, items, and processes, do you see a time that this will become relevant to us before Messiah's return?
No, I just said that. I just answered that pretty much, okay? And by the way, I believe there is a place in the details when it talks about these things where it actually lists which tribes are on which rows, and it lists all 12 tribes, okay? So it is there. All right, but no, Simon, that's basically the same question I just answered, all right? You do not, in my opinion, you don't need to know any of this stuff in any functional way, okay, for you to get anywhere in this life at the moment. And when there's a temple and all those things are happening, somebody will let you know what the relevance is. And really, how they get dressed and what they do is not really relevant to you. You're going to need to know if there's sacrifices happening, if you need to bring one, and which one you need to bring, and for what reasons, and those kind of things. Okay? Next.
All right, from Maria Lopez, is Exodus 28:12 related to Isaiah 9:6?
Let's see. All right, so Exodus 28:12 says, "And you shall put the two stones on the shoulder pieces of the shoulder garment, the stones of remembrance." We read that verse. And then Isaiah, was it 9:6? That's where it says, "For a child shall be born unto us, a son shall be given us, and the rule is on his shoulder." No. Okay, look. If you have questions, I don't know how I want to say this. It's hard for me to deal with questions if you're going to throw out multiple verses, and you only throw out two, but some people like to throw out all these things and want to know how they match and everything else. Take that into a zone meeting, or call about that separately. I don't really have necessarily the time to go figure out and look at every verse to try to figure out what it is you're asking anyway. What you're hearing is the rule is on his shoulder, and these are on the shoulder, and you're connecting the word shoulder, and they're not connected. Okay? It has nothing to do with it. All right? Rule on his shoulder is different than the kind of authority that Aaron had. Okay? We're talking about the burden of responsibility to actually be ruling everything. Okay? Kingly rule. All right? So they're not connected in that way. All right? I'm not picking on Maria. A lot of you try to do this. You'll say, is this verse related to this verse? Then you're forcing me to sit here, look up all these verses. I don't know them all by heart. I know a lot of verses. Okay? And we don't have the time for that. All right, next.
From Easy D. Herrera, this is a two-parter. Abba Yahweh, as you said, wants to squeeze us to obtain the oil from us to bring the light out, that we are the olives. All we need to do is be moldable, pliable, and allow Abba to even crush us. I'm a man. We need to stop crying and just let the pain in and grow from it. Correct? And grow up by breathing and focus on what you need to do. More importantly, what Abba wants. Correct?
Yes. See, like questions like that. It's easy.
From Monica de Leon, in 25:8, make me a set-apart place, a desire to grow, to become like him. He anoints his people to do his will, to teach, share, and do it with integrity, honor. Is that what it means?
Put that back up. The first part, put it back up on the screen. Okay. Okay, let's see. Make me a set-apart place, a desire to grow, to become like him. He anoints his people to do his will, to teach, share. Yes, that's what it means. Okay, next. And by the way, for people that have these more interesting questions, bring them to a Zone meeting. I'm happy to answer them there. Okay? This is more specific to this Torah portion, but I didn't say it at the beginning. Elder always says it. You're looking for the halachic things that are going to affect you now, like you can do them now. Okay? Figuring out the breastplate doesn't help you at all. Not now. Actually, never. Unless you're a Kohen and you have to know what order the stones and what they look like and what kinds of stones they are and everything else. You don't really have that problem. All right, next.
All right, from Pepita, this two-parter, piggybacking on Sister Janet on discipline, you explained there's a time when we are overwhelmed with many other things happening in our life. At certain times like this, not often or always, can we take some time off from a routine just so we can recharge ourselves from a depleted state? Or is this itself is an excuse not to be disciplined?
All right, look, everything that you choose to do has to be with an actual, honest, genuine reason. Yes, there are times when you would genuinely need to take time away from a routine in order to recharge. As a matter of fact, changing your routine, but for example, if you go to the gym and you do the same routine every week, after a while, it will do nothing. You need to change it up every now and then, but you're still going to the gym. But maybe you're doing something and you're having some level of burnout. Yes, it's okay to change things up a little bit for a very short period of time to get away from the burnout, okay? Look, I didn't go on a vacation because I just need vacation, or I have vacation time I need to take, although I do have vacation time I never take, but that's not the point. The point is, every now and then, this can wear on anybody, whatever, not just this ministry, I'm saying any job that you have that you're just doing the same thing all the time, which is why even jobs give you a couple of weeks vacation. So you can go do something else to get away from that whole whatever routine that you're in, get some recharging going on, and then you go back to the routine. So I would agree 100%. Yes, but just be careful that it's purposeful and planned and limited, okay? There are times where my wife will do the same thing as I will do this sometimes, times where we'll look at each other like, you know what, I'm just going to sit down and just watch something or just do something somewhat mindless just because I need a break from everything, but it's not going to be for like, I'm not going to sit on the couch or a chair or whatever for like 6 hours, okay? But it's limited and purposeful, okay? Because a lot of you will just grab your phones or whatever you're doing and you'll be scrolling or whatever and you'll just lose 3 hours. Okay? Nothing wrong with that necessarily what you're doing, provided you say, I'm going to do this for 20 minutes or an hour, whatever it is that you're going to take a break, and that's what you're choosing to do for your break. Okay? And then get back to whatever you're doing. And some of you think, well, I don't have any time for any of this. Really? I want you to budget your time. What do I mean by budget? The first thing you do is you actually start with a ledger. What is a ledger? It's where you write down everything that's related to whatever the topic is. So you can have a ledger for your money. So every penny that comes in or goes out, when it happens, you write it down. Okay, bought this, spent that, got this money, came in, whatever it was, you write it all down. Whether it's food, I used to make, when I was a personal trainer, I made my clients do that. Write down everything goes in your mouth. I ate this, I drank that, I ate this, I drank that, right? How many, what it was, what time it was, whatever. Do this with your time, though. Every minute of the day, account for it. What'd you do? And if you did that for a couple of weeks, you'd realize you got a lot of free time, that you do a lot of wasted stuff. People say, I don't have any time, because you're busy doing stuff that doesn't really need to get done. You might have no idea just how many hours you sit in front of the TV watching something on cable or in front of your phone or whatever it is device that you use, okay? It could be the news, it could be movies, it could be whatever, YouTube. You just spend time and don't even realize where that time went. Budget your time, all right? You know, there was a guy I listened to that was doing, I forget, he was doing 18 hours a day. What he did was he basically said he had his first job was the first 6 hours of the day, then he did a second job for the second 6 hours a day, then he did a third job for the next 6 hours a day. He said, I get triple what you get done because I'm working 3 jobs that way. He did 6 hours a time. And you know what? Some of you think, well, 6 hours is not a whole day. Do you really work your whole 8 hours when you work an 8-hour job? You know, there were some companies that did an experiment where they actually had their people come in just for 4 hours in the morning, work really hard and intensely, and send them home. They got more work done in a whole day when they were just goofing off so much. Because we're not efficient when we have all that time to fill. And so we end up goofing off too much. But you could do an inventory. Do a budget inventory. Take a ledger and write down every single thing you do and for how long. Well, you're about to sit down and watch something. Good. Write down what time it was write in your phone somewhere. Say, sat down to watch TV or whatever you're doing, right? Watch Netflix, watch whatever. And then write down what time you stopped. And so you know, hey, that was 3 hours. Wow, okay, good. Then you realize I do that 5 days a week. That's 15 hours. Do you really need to spend 15 hours on Netflix or HBO Max or whatever you're on? TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, whatever social media thing that you do, Facebook. Some of you spend 3 hours a day on Facebook. Okay? Whatever you're doing. Time management, you know. Look, I work a lot. Not bragging at all, but you know what? I waste a lot of time. I do. I'm not as in the hunt as I was when I was first entrepreneurially starting things and doing things. And so this thing is running. I put a lot of hours into this, don't get me wrong. I still got a lot of time that I'm just wasting. And you think, well, but Rabbi, you know, you earned this. No, you know what? It's a waste. It kills brain cells. It doesn't get you anywhere. It's not productive. Productivity keeps you alive. It energizes you. It keeps you young. It keeps you going. Okay? Otherwise, you turn into the worst thing, which is called existence. You don't want to exist. You want to live. Living's great. Existence is really awful. Okay? So when you're sitting there vegetating in front of your screen, of whatever screen you're doing, what are you doing? Now, I'm not against it. I do these things, but I have to, when I have discipline, I limit it. I go, I'm going to do this for this long. Okay? Used to be, after Saturday, after Shabbat, and everything was all done, I'd get home about 9 o'clock at night, well after sundown, after doing everything, maybe sometimes closer to 10, and I'd sit in front of the TV and watch the show where people were digging for gold or whatever. It was fascinating to watch these geniuses, who are not so geniuses, you know. But it was something I would do that just was mindless. I did it for an hour, turned off the thing, and I went right back and did whatever I needed to do, back to work. And my family knew, hey, Dad needs to just do this stuff, just to unwind. 1 hour, done, okay? And usually it was something I recorded because it probably played on Shabbat or something. I recorded it so I could watch it in 45 minutes, skip the commercials or whatever it was, you know. I wasn't spending that much time. But it's something that you do that you know you recharge. Maybe you like to play a video game. Fine, so play the game. Just don't play for 4 hours, okay? You recharge and then get going. Okay? Unless you've arrived. And I don't think anybody's arrived. There's very few people on the planet that have arrived. Okay? And you look at people who have like more money than anybody, like look at Elon. Okay? I know all these people don't like him right now. Forget about that for a second. Okay? The man runs all these different companies, and he's still looking for more things to do. Okay? And he's got more ideas and more things to do and more ideas and more. So you can't say, oh, you get a certain amount of money, and then you're going to stop. Or Jeff Bezos with Amazon. You know, I've been watching with Amazon since it started, and they keep adding other lines and other things and other, I mean, he's always coming up with ideas. He's not just stopping. He certainly has enough money to stop. Okay? So I'm just saying is, there's no arriving. The living is in the living, right? The doing, the creating. That's what our Father's a creator, right? We call him the creator. I just want to throw that out there. All right? So maybe you need to do an inventory of your time spending. All right? Hey, any of you that drive, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, anything, don't you have to mark down your mileage? Don't you have to track everything you do? You kind of keep a log somewhere. Went here, went there, so you can deduct the miles and all that other stuff. Keep a log of everything you do. Okay? You know, spend an hour on the phone with a friend who needed some help and everything, and you could just decide that was productive or not, right? Okay, so just kind of budget that stuff out. And then you can find out just how much you're doing about this stuff. How much time are you putting into your transformation? How much time are you actually putting into focusing on the vertical? Because you'll see where all your time's going. And it's going. And I'll tell you what, as you get older, you realize it's not slowing down. It's getting faster. And actually, scientifically, that's actually a fact. Time is moving faster. Okay? You might not understand that if you're young going, what? Yeah, it's moving a little quicker. Okay? Okay, so I mean, like, we're like, oh my gosh, like next month is Passover. Where did the whole year go? It was just January 1st, a few weeks ago, it seems like, right? And all of a sudden, we're already in March. It goes quick. It goes quick. One day, some of you are so young, you don't understand. One day you'll have a baby, and the next minute they're getting married. And you're like, where did the years go in the middle? It goes quick. You can miss stuff if you don't pay attention and enjoy those moments and do the things you need to do, right? Anyway, all right, what else you got?
All right, from Francis S. I have a thought on Exodus 29:4-7. As the anointed appointed, having obligation to wash, clean, and give garments to priest, is there a correlation with Yeshua and us?
I guess. I mean, I think we can probably see that Yeshua, part of his job is to help wash us clean. And he gives us the guidance on how that works and what that looks like. All right. But instead of him washing us, except from sin, okay, that whole paying that penalty, he gives us opportunities that will wash us, whereas Moses actually washed them, okay, and gave them garments. Well, he gives us stuff to cover us with, our actions, our works, you know. I mean, you know, I'm sure we can find some way to tie it together. All right, next.
All right, from Monica De Leon. Rabbi, please comment, make me a set-apart temple for you with burning clear oil, pressed, beaten as refined gold, anointed in wisdom to represent him, and anointed to shine for you. Am I seeing this right?
Sure.
And this is the last one from Easy D. Herrera. Rabbi, is that, he was talking about your vacation, the cruise you just went on. Is that not what you and Robertson just did? You need to be refreshed too. We should be happy for you because Abba will provide us relief, especially when we earn it, correct?
Yes, yes. And look, and you guys need to know, I was on the phone with Elder every day. I had my laptop out and worked. You guys might be like, but you're on vacation. Well, what you do on vacation and what I do might be different things. So what was a vacation for me? Being somewhere where nobody needs me. I'm needed all the time, okay? So I want to just sit and nobody needs me for anything. Rebbitzon's very independent. She just goes, and she knows the boats. We've been on enough of these, so she just knows where she wants to go and what she wants to do. And so she mostly goes off on her own, and then I do some things with her. But I mostly just sit. I find a nice spot in the shade where it was a little bit warm, but it was a little hot. I don't like it when it's so hot. But anyway, I got to sit there and pull out a book that I'm reading, which is stuff for you guys that's going to be coming up. And in terms of getting that whole personality, Myers-Briggs stuff that I want to share with you. I also was working on the teaching for tomorrow. I was also working on the announcements. I was also working on all kinds of stuff. I'm doing all of this on the boat. Happy as I can be. Excuse me. Happy as I can be. But I'm working. And a lot of you would be like, but you're on vacation. That's my vacation. Okay? Rebbitzon didn't do any work. She was there to relax. She didn't bring her Parsha Pearl stuff with her or whatever. Okay? Because she was there to relax. Okay? So I had internet. She didn't. Because she didn't want it. She just said, I'm here to do my thing, and she did her thing. And that's, everybody's different. And she got recharged, and I got recharged. Okay? And so, of course, it makes me very easy to find after she runs around and does whatever she's doing. She's only sitting in one spot that I like to sit in, and I'll have my workout, and I bring my laptop and my battery chargers and everything, and I'm doing my work. But that's what I do on vacation. But that's me. I like to work, okay? Now, sure, we went to some of the shows that are on the boat, and we went to, obviously, we had meals and things, and that was all fine. And we did get off the boat in a couple of places and had some fun. But really, everybody's different. So you do stuff to be recharged is really the thing, to be refreshed. And I'm back. I'm a little bit tired. I felt like, at one point on the vacation, I said to somebody, I need a vacation. These things are exhausting. Because they pack it full of stuff. If you want to, you could just wear yourself out trying to have fun, I'm telling you, it could be really, man. But, I'm re-energized and excited and ready to get back to going. But then again, it's not getting back. I worked while I was there. And that's not trying to get any sympathy or anything. That's my preference, okay? I go there with work knowing that's what I want to sit there and do. But you know what? Nobody interrupts me. Nobody says, and calls me for something or needs me for something or whatever's happening, which happens when I'm here. And I'm not mad about that. I'm just saying I need a break, And Elder was really sweet about the whole thing. Every time I called him, anything going on? Nope, it's all good. Wouldn't tell me anything. Now I know stuff was happening, because it always is. He's like, nope, it's all good. Nothing needs you. Because he knew I was there not to be needed, But see, being a proper leader, I called and checked in. And we did actually have to handle a few things that came up that had to do with whatever. But I mean, things come up, which is why I'm accessible even when I'm wherever I am across the world there, But then you guys understand that whatever you need to recharge, you have to do what you need to recharge, okay? And then you find that thing that you do, and make sure you get the right amount of it. All right, anything else? Was that it, John? All right, good. So hopefully that was good for everybody. See that? Even though I got off a boat at 7 o'clock this morning, we did this till 10:30. See, that's how it works. All right, so if you'll all rise, we'll go ahead and close. Mr. Rick Bohe is going to close us in prayer.
Good evening, Father. I want to thank you for your Shabbat, a time of rest. Thank you for bringing Rabbi Rebbitzon back. I hope they did get some rest and enjoyment and time away from some of the drama that goes on around here. Be with our family around the world. Help them get the rest and everything they need. Bring us back again tomorrow. Thank you. In Yeshua's name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Awesome. All right, anybody wants to be on camera here so we can wave and do our little wave thing? Come on this side. All of you got the message today on the app that was from Shamash Uncle Bob. I knew he was coming this weekend, so I figured I asked him. I said, why don't you go ahead and get the message? Which is kind of cool. All right. Here we go. So we're going to look at this camera over here, and we're going to wish everybody online, on the live stream family, we're going to wish them all a Shabbat Shalom and tell them that we love them. Here we go. On 3. 1, 2, 3.